Oh shit, we have a podcast to do. I forgot.
Yeah, we have a podcast to do.
For the next month, 3 hours. What are you going for?
No, actually, I do want to end it like probably at 11 at the latest, just because I have to wake up tomorrow.
Yeah,
we have to get up early.
I gotta drive down to San Diego tomorrow, so
Oh, gee, I did that when I was down there last time.
yeah. My kid has an 8 o'clock soccer game, so I gotta be up and out the house by like 6.
Oh, geez, just for soccer?
Yeah,
You go
just
that
for
far
soccer.
just for soccer?
Yep.
My goodness. Hey, everybody, how's it going? This is the night of Saturday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It is time for the RC Drift talk show thing that we do. We haven't been at it for a while, but we're back at it now. And then we're going to do it again next week, and then we're going to take another day off. We've got car shows coming up, so you'll see us kind of come and go. Wow. Vittorio's kind of harsh, man.
Just firing shots immediately.
What did you say?
He hates you. Why do you hate
Oh.
Shaine?
Oh, this guy.
It's like he's your teammate, right?
Yeah.
That brotherly love. Okay. All right, so we've got some cool things to go over today. Obviously, we have Shaine here. He is our special guest. We'll be kind of catching up with him throughout the stream, and we all, yeah. So, without further ado, let me go ahead and do the announcements, and then we will kick off all the questions and interviewing for Shaine. So, tomorrow is round 1 of our SDC series for Oregon. If you haven't registered, go ahead and do register. It is free. If you are competing, you might as well, just because it makes our numbers look better. It makes everybody's numbers look better. And there's no harm to you. You're just going to be registering. Also, when you are there tomorrow, and I know that there's probably not a lot of PDX guys that are watching as of now, which is dumb, but when you go register, and you get teched in, while you're teching in, come see me. That way we can get your registration picture for SDC taken care of. Should be pretty quick, and you're having your car teched at the same time anyway, so it should be pretty easy and straightforward. Also, tomorrow morning, make sure that you pay and get a stamp before you come in and check tech. Right, Judd?
Yes. I just messaged Kevin, see if he has stamps. I don't know if he has a stamp or not.
Like postage stamps or like...
Yeah, no, just
Yeah.
like
We're gonna put a postage
a hand
stamp on
stamp.
Dude, postage is not cheap.
Well, just use a marker and make an X.
Oh yeah, I mean that works.
That works too.
It'll be like we're at a scene concert in the 2000s again.
Yeah.
With the black light, you can do it with black light. Okay, calendar events. Tandem Tuesdays is still a thing, and you're into a new series competition thing, right? You guys, yeah, Judd, Logan,
What?
Tandem Tuesday series. That's
Oh
already
yeah,
That's all
sorry.
Logan.
Yeah, we started another series. For this one, we're doing $100 gift card to the winner, 50 to second and 20 to third. It's been going pretty well.
right on. Okay, Import Expo May 11th. So what? Not this next week, but the week after. Yeah, something like that. That one is going to be at the Portland Convention Center. So if you haven't been to the convention center, it's a really cool venue. The lights are all weird and wacky up above just to show that they got money. And if you're not from Portland, it's the Glass Pyramids in Portland is where that's at. They have underground parking from what I remember, so it's easy enough to get to. Except for it being in Portland. That's the only downside.
Yeah,
Downtown
there's
Portland.
There's that.
June 8th is Slammed Enough. We don't have confirmation for that one yet, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be there. And yeah, of course, October 4th, 5th, and 6th, plan for Super G Worlds. All right, so Shaine, let's get to you. Can you, sir, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're at, what you do?
Let's see. So, Shaine, California. I've been in the RC hobby for maybe 30 years. And from two-wheel drive buggy to short course truck to 8 scale buggy, 8 scale truggy. I didn't really do the on-road stuff because at the time I just like tearing up stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right now I'm probably like one of the right-hand people at Super G. Don't really have any like say or control, but I have a little bit of influence. And I am one of the, I guess you could say, organizers of the Super Drift series. I think we started it maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Prior to that, I was putting together like bunk hops to try to get everything going and then help spawn it into what it is now.
Right on. So, with the whole off-road series, well, not series, but stuff, what was your favorite class, like that you either competed in or that you were a part of?
8 scale buggy and two-wheel drive stadium truck.
Okay. Was it e-buggy or was it nitro?
Yeah, it was e-buggy. I ran a RC8E.
Like the original? Like the
Yeah.
very first one? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Taking it back.
It goes way back.
Way back. Okay. So we know you're a Super G judge, and I know that we're gonna touch bases on that a lot, and just like here and there. I don't want this to be the Badger the Judge show by any means. So, actually, yeah, that's an interesting question that came up. We'll get to it. But yeah, can you tell us about like what you do professionally? What keeps you in this hobby?
So I work for Yamaha Music.
Okay.
In their credit department. So I'm like a junior account manager for the Midwest region. So I handle all of the Midwest music stores and record label stuff and all that other stuff. So
Very cool.
Yeah, it allows me to actually work from home. And that's how I get to be able to, get out, get to the track every once in a while. Only thing that stops me is soccer. Yeah.
Right on. That's cool. I definitely have had a lot of Yamaha products in the past. Not motorcycles.
Yeah, I didn't realize how many people actually use like Yamaha stuff until I started working for them. And then I was like, all these different divisions. Because you have motors, you have car sound, you have boats, you have all this stuff, and then I'm just on the instrument side. So I'm like, what the heck? This is a lot of stuff going on.
Oh, what? Crap! What's the It's the name of an air conditioner that you would typically hear. Huawei? I think it's Huawei.
I've never heard of that.
Anyway, I have a ceramic knife that's made by them.
Oh.
Like totally off the wall. No. All of my mixers that I've used that I've actually approved of that sound the best have always been Yamaha. So I can definitely stand behind Yamaha 100% of the way.
They have top tier products.
I'm just too cheap for the cool digital stuff.
Oh, me too.
Okay, back to drift because this is a drift show, so we're gonna go there.
Believe it or not.
Believe it or not, we talk about all kinds of random stuff. Let's see. Where do we want to go? Because I feel like we're gonna answer all of these questions with the questions from chat too. Actually no, that's all in. Okay, maybe we're just gonna go to the Discord chat. So if you do have Discord, and if you want to join our Discord, there's a section for questions for Shaine, or you can just throw them up in chat here. If you do have any generic questions, throw them either place, and we'll be happy to answer them, as long as they're valid. I don't want any like weird stuff coming out.
No weird stuff, Vittorio.
I think we're beyond that.
All right. Oh, and if you guys haven't noticed on streams before, if you throw an emoji in chat, it does weird stuff on the screen, so you guys can have fun with that. Okay, so hopping over to questions for Shaine. Scroll to the top of it. Guy, first question. What is your favorite sushi?
I don't eat sushi.
So none of the sushi is his favorite
No,
sushi.
I like all my food cooked.
What about a tempura? Like it's slightly fried.
I'll do that. It's not my choice. I know. When I went to my first overseas trip, that was our food on the flight. So it was one of those like, right, you got to eat this or else you're gonna be starving.
Ooh, yeah.
So I had it, and I was like, okay, this is doable because it's lightly fried. But if I have the choice, just give me something cooked.
So
Vittorio, oh my gosh.
His favorite roll is the not a roll.
Shaine sounds like a well done steak kind of guy.
No, I am not. I am a medium steak.
Careful with that slander there, pal.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are big shots, man. Medium. You're a medium guy. What about a cut?
Yeah.
What kind of a cut?
I like the New York strip butterflied.
Okay.
Usually with some type of butter, depending on what the place has. But the New York strip is usually my go-to, unless I'm in a place to splurge, and then I'll probably go like a tomahawk. But that's not often.
Tomahawks are the good ones. Bone-in ribeyes.
Yeah.
Not a fan of ribeyes. Ribeyes are just
No, they're a little fatty for some people.
Yeah, they're too fatty for me.
Yeah, that's why I like the New York strip. It just has to be butterflied though. It cooks a little better.
Okay. Gotcha. Slide Squad is asking, why haven't you come out to Arizona?
This fool. I just talked to him about that yesterday. It's on the list. It is on the list. When I go to Arizona, and I've been, and he's gonna hate me for this, I've been 3 times this year already. It's for soccer. We fly in, she plays, we grab something to eat, and we're back at the airport.
All of the youth soccer stuff is in Phoenix for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you fly there.
Yeah. Because sometimes she'll play on Saturday in Arizona, and then play back here on Sunday. So we have to fly in, play, and come back in order for her to rest and do all the stuff she needs to do to prep for the next day's game.
This doesn't sound like your typical school league. Like
No. This is high level, like semi pro level soccer.
Gotcha. Very cool. Slide Squad, was that your question? To pick me up from Flagstaff on the 19th. Trey. Oh. That's inner chat conversations. Okay. Question number
4-hour drive.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean,
To pick somebody up, yeah.
Oh, okay. Coming from Brian. How hard do you have to smack a wall before you get shunned at Super G, I'm assuming?
Shunned? I've seen people smack some walls like really hard. You'll never get shunned. You might get laughed at, like if the body comes off or something. Because it's like, whoa. These are very small cars. How fast were you actually going?
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen Judd bend an arm.
No, that wasn't me. That wasn't me.
Oh,
that was
wait,
Austin.
that was Austin.
And that was
You
shark.
would be
That was a
so-
shark guard. That thing's been bent like 15 times.
You would be surprised the stuff like when we shut it down and I'm sweeping our stuff at the end of the night, the stuff that I find on the track. I found bearings, I found spur gears, like stuff that you need to actually drive. I'm like, how is this stuff still sitting on the track? You didn't go out there and get it?
Right. A spur gear is a big thing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Spur
Looks-
I haven't
gears.
found a spur gear yet. I found bearings, plenty of
pinions,
screws to build a whole nother chassis.
Plenty of
wheel
magnets.
nuts.
Yep,
Yeah,
magnets.
plenty of magnets.
Yeah,
The pins that hold in the hexes.
Yep.
Those find those all over the place.
We have a
what
guy out here that just earned the nickname Yard Sale last night.
Alejandro.
Bumpers and wings.
Hey, he made that choice, okay? Anyone that chooses to magnet mount their body pieces, they deserve that. I call it
Yes.
a walk of shame.
Yes.
His real question, Brian's real question, or Jose's real question is, what's the biggest gray area you have when judging?
I don't really have a gray area. For qualifying, it's because it's split amongst three and how we do it. It's fairly easy. The battles is where people usually think the gray area comes from, but for me, it's essentially the rules are the rules. I'm just there to tell you who didn't break the rule.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not really, unless we get to the point where both runs are just phenomenal and now we're splitting hairs. That's the only like gray, like okay, he didn't enter at this angle, but he exited at this angle, as opposed to this person did and this person. It starts to, when it gets to splitting hairs, that's usually when it gets the hardest.
Yeah.
But it doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't happen that often.
It's a lot easier when there's a very obvious person. Like you can say, you know, this person did this, and that made it
Yeah.
easy. Like when the battles get really tight, it's very challenging to judge. I found.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, you smacked the wall? Okay. That's
Easy.
it. That made it simple.
Yeah.
You missed the zone? Okay, that made it simple. But when they're like tight and everybody's hitting everything, and now we're like, okay, we're just looking at each other like, so what do you think? Because I have my winner already. I need to know you're a winner, and then the third person's a winner. And if we're not on the same page, let's go to the screen.
Sorry, I don't know what's going on with my camera, but it, like the color temperature keeps on changing, and it's not
mood
the-
lighting.
I mean, I do have that, but it's. I'm just gonna leave that light on. Anyway, Slide Squad's question. Hey, yo, DJ, aren't you supposed to be at work?
He is working. He's folding shirts, dude.
Out at Dick's, folding shirts. I hated that when I was working retail. Anyway, Slide Squad's question was, what is your favorite RC part right now? Like, particular to a chassis, or like...
I think he's asking this because we just had this conversation last night. We got the new Rhino Racing Azada pistons maybe like a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been testing them, and now that they're open to the market, I was telling them like, bro, these things are. I've tried like other titanium pistons and all that. I was like, these things are really, really good. And I'm not one to get stuff because it's new. Like I get a lot of stuff to test, but these are one where I'm like, this is really good, and people are going to love these things.
Now, do you know where the whole Azada like tie came from? Because that was really interesting to me. Like, surprised to see that.
Outside of them both being in China, I have no idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I could find out if I talked to somebody at Rhino, but outside of that, because it threw me off too, because the first set of pistons that I had, the original prototype I had maybe for a year, and they were just straight Rhino. So when these came out as a collaboration between the two, it threw me off as well, because I'm like, I didn't see this happening.
Okay. So we don't really know.
Yeah, we don't know. I could probably get you an answer, but yeah, I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay. I was curious because I'm like, first wheels, like the radio wheels, and now this. What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Let's
I was
see.
talking to somebody yesterday about that, and Azada's less than frequent releases.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
And that's why he was questioning me, like, this came out of the blue, but what we really want is another release of the steering wheels. I'm like, hey, I don't work for them. I can't tell you what they're doing.
I mean, clearly the wheels are hot tickets. Like,
Mm-hmm.
pretty much all of them are. Let's see. Jacob Parker in chat with the establishment. Shark IFS or nah, and why?
Me? No. I did Final Form Shark. When I set it up, I did the IFS. Maybe a week or two into it, I went back to the standard settings. Front tower, straight up and down, dampers. I don't know. It's something about IFS that just doesn't gel with my driving style. I always felt like no matter how I set it up, it would give me a little push in spots that I didn't want.
Right. For me, like when I was playing around with the IFS setup for the Shark, it didn't give me, well, it felt like there was a really small window of where it wanted to work, and then if you were out of it, it was like, nope, no way.
Yeah, it would. I would slide forward. And I'm like, where's the bite? Like, it was very, like you said, very, very small window. And once you're out of that window, I couldn't figure it out. And I'm one of those, once I get something set, I leave it. Like, you won't catch me messing with it, because I don't want to get out of that sweet spot. But once I get out of that sweet spot, and if I can't find it again, start fresh.
Yeah. Totally. Okay. You guys are doing great with the questions in chat. Now I gotta find time to reel in the other questions. Ooh, this one's fun. This one, Chinese Food 142 in Discord. As a Team Futaba driver, would you recommend the GYD 470 to anyone who feels the GYD 550 has too many variables?
No. The 470, I built a car for a buddy and he had a 470. And in building that car, because I was already on a 550 on my own car, I realized that I couldn't do what I wanted to do to make the car drive how I wanted it to drive.
Yep.
So if anybody asks, I know the learning curve with the 550 is a little harsh for people. But I usually tell them, if you find somebody that has a decent understanding and you stick with it for a couple weeks, you can pretty much set it and forget it. But telling somebody to get a 470, I would never. I would choose, and this is being with Futaba, I would tell them to choose another gyro. From maybe a V4, because if that's where they're going, then I think the V4 will be a little more comfortable because they can just set their endpoint, set their gain, and just go for it. But if you want the ability to do what you want, get what you want out of a car, 550 all the way.
And the endpoints are, the endpoints are more critical to me in the differences between like a V4 and a 450 and a 470, because the 450 and 470 are equidistant from center, right?
Mhm.
Where you have to make sure that your car is proper. And yes, it's an endpoint, but you're either going to get less of one side than the other, or you're over tweaking it.
I've yet to build a car that was like perfectly geometrically built so that there's exactly the same settings on both sides.
Bro, it never happens. I could measure stuff and then go for a lap and come back and be like, how's this off a millimeter again? How is this off 2 millimeters? I just measured it. It's weird. But I mean, yeah, I would if they didn't want to go the 550 route, I would definitely say just go V4. Make it easy on yourself.
Yeah.
But if you want to improve your driving and push yourself to the next level, 550 all the way.
I agree. Although I did just pick up a 550 that was it worked. It was fine, except I couldn't talk to it via S-Bus. Like I couldn't get into the programming. So I'll be switching that out on Sunday.
Yeah, I've ran three different 550s. Because I got my first one like the day that they were released, but I've never had an issue with any of them. I burnt up a servo before I messed up a 550, which I just burnt up a servo last night. So.
Oh no! Was it a Futaba?
Yeah, it was
Oh,
user
no.
error. I mean, I only run Futaba, so I burnt up a CD700 last night.
Ouch.
So I was like, crap. So I just went to my bag and threw in a 701 and had to reprogram it and all this other stuff. But it was definitely user error.
What happened? Because I have one and I don't want to do that.
Endpoints.
I was being greedy pushing the endpoints on my RD2s. And the AD setup, the way I had it set, it kept locking out. So the lightest of taps, it was pushing it past 90.
Yeah.
So I just
it was over centering.
I just kept doing that, driving to the point where I went to pick up the car and it was super hot. Went to move it back and forth and it was tight, and I'm like, oh, this is gone. But it was definitely user error. It was just me being greedy.
Yeah. There's always when you don't feel like you have enough angle, the urge to like push it harder is hard to resist sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. Chris in chat. I am intentionally skipping one of your questions. But his other question is, and we're jumping here. What's on your RD2 chassis when it comes to mods from how it comes out of the box?
Full Team AD. The
AD.
only thing stock right now is the gearbox. And the rear arms and the front lower arms. But outside of that, I was thinking like, what didn't I change yet? So outside of that, it's the Team AD deck, the Team AD front end, Shark upper arms. And that's it. That's it. It's pretty simple. It works. I found that it works really well. For
Adjustable turnbuckles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I put the Yokomo 40, did the 42s for the turnbuckles up front for the toe links, and then just use the stock turnbuckles in the rear. Yeah, it's pretty good. I found a sweet spot. I know Team AD, they come with their own hinge pins for the upper arms. And with what they give you, the amount of caster that's basic, like the set caster, is way too much. It's way too much, even with the slider. So what I did was I got the Rhino upper arms, used the spacers for it, put the caster next to 0, and then now I use the actual slider to get the caster that I want.
Okay.
Because if you don't, you're gonna get full roll. It'll be like this.
Hey, I know some guys that will love that.
Yeah, yeah. I tried it and it just, without changing other settings, it just spun the car around in a circle. It would get to like that certain point to where it was too much roll, and it would just cause the car to jackknife.
Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. I was never a high caster boy anyway. Like, it doesn't drive the way that I need it to.
Yeah, like,
I just realized that my fun chat doesn't go up all the way, so I had to scroll back in YouTube chat. Kafer has the question of, is there interest to bring STC to Europe someday?
yes. That is actually on my table right now. Just figuring out where we can get places to host. Because as it stands right now, they're open to come whenever. It's an open invite for them. But as we open it up to worlds, we want to introduce it to other countries. So it really becomes like a chance for them to run their series and have qualifiers there. Instead of it just being like an open invitation, now it becomes you have to qualify there. So that way it cuts down on like just the mass opening for everybody.
Gotcha. Now, would that be like aside from the whole what are they calling it, like Drift Essex or something like that? I know that scale drift or scale FPS like usually streams their competitions.
Yeah, I would personally, I would want it to be ours. Like they can have their own. I push for like even the regions here. Like I want everybody to have their own series, because then you get more comp time in. Like I don't want you to have to wait once a month to drive for the SDC series. I want you guys to have your own series, but we also want to make it so everybody has that qualifying aspect to get you here.
Okay, Slide Squad. When driving, what does everyone like to do? Lead or chase at the moment? I chase all the time.
Yeah, he's talking. So lately, I want to say within like the last, what are we in, May? Going into May. So this year, there's been so many people that refuse to lead. It's getting out of hand. So like I'm at the point where if I'm at the track, unless it's like Vittorio or my buddy Jason or Chris, or some of like the guys that basically sit at our table, I really won't drive, because I'll go out there and I'll let somebody chase me for 10, 12 laps. And the second I jump behind them, they pull off and go do something else, or they act like there's something wrong. And I'm like, bro, I'm trying to get some laps too.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time it's me maybe driving a pack and a half while everybody's there. And then when the shop closes, I'll stay and then I'll go through 3 or 4 packs of batteries.
Yeah. I think our community needs to hear that. Like we're sharing. It's not a good etiquette to let someone lead you for 10, 15 minutes and then to not reciprocate that at all.
Yeah, I think it puts a bad taste in people's mouth, because it's like, I know you're chasing me because you want to get better, but I could also learn from chasing you as well. Even if you think that I'm a better driver than you,
totally,
I can learn from chasing you. So
totally
give me the opportunity to chase, because you may be a slower driver, which pushes me to learn how to drive slower.
Yeah, it's equally important to practice. Yeah. I mean, realistically too, in a competition, you're going to spend, if things are going well, you're going to spend more time driving with that person that might be a little slower than you will, with someone that you're struggling to keep up with. Or for me, anyways.
There's a few people that I can drive with where I'm like, okay, I can just all out drive because they drive fast as well. And then the ones that are a little slower, those are the ones that I get my knowledge from, like my practicing and stuff in from, because I have to figure out how to make the car slower without changing a bunch of stuff, because I need to be able to switch back and chase the faster guys. I need to figure out how to get my spacing right, where I should initiate versus where I shouldn't, because your car's a little slower. And if I do it at my speed, you'll still be there when I get there. Like, and that right now, it's a lot of that going on. And it's gotten to the point where now people jump behind me, I'll just pull off. Like, if you can't give me any leads, then I'm not going to drive with you. And you're going to have to figure it out on your own.
Stop following Nick, everybody. Even though that he drives a smooth line, stop following Nick. He wants to drive too.
Yeah.
Totally
Everybody, you want to drive, you want to lead, you want to chase, you want to do all that.
Okay, where we at? Sorry, I was trying to have this ready to go. Apparently not.
I saw the Discord, and I know the question that you're trying to jump around from. Bro, feel free to ask it.
Fine.
That's what I'm here for.
Fine. Okay, Chris, here you go. From Chris. Being a judge, trying not to be biased, would you consider that your match on SDC round 2 was a steal? IMO, it was.
I wouldn't. In the moment, I just drive. Whatever the outcome is the outcome. I did go back and watch it after. And I can see where people would think that it was a steal, but I also can see where I messed up, because I'm pretty hard on myself when I drive. Especially being a judge, I know what the judges are looking for. So in that instance, I don't really think it's a steal. I don't really think it's much of anything. It's weird. I have this thing like, yes, I drive during the comps, but I'm not driving to get a trophy. I'm driving for the fun of it. So if I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. For me, my big thing is, how high can I get in qualifying? Everything after that, I don't care about. I'm there to be another body, there to break up the monotony of me sitting up there for 5 hours. Like, so, yeah, it's not. It doesn't feel like a steal. It doesn't feel like I got robbed or any of that stuff. It's for me, the call is the call, and we have a round 3 coming up.
What time do you guys typically start your competitions at?
We usually start at 5. Okay. 5:30.
And you went
so
till
we in
like 11.
Yeah. I mean, there's been times where we've gone till 1, but for us, it's all based on how quickly the drivers organize. Like, we can knock it out in 4 hours, 5 hours with 60 drivers, or it can take 7 hours because guys aren't paying attention. We're calling the brackets, guys are sitting in the pits talking to each other, not paying attention. Like, all that stuff starts to add up. These 3 minutes here, 5 minutes there, and that's what pushes us over. But generally, we can knock it out and be done by like 10:45, 11.
Is there a reason why you start so late?
Yeah, there's a lot of people who work Saturdays.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
And we want to give them the opportunity to get out. Even with us starting late, we still get some guys that show up at 4:50,
right,
4:30. They do like half a battery on tires and then right into qualifying. Like we try to make it so it's somewhat enjoyable for everybody. And out here, Fridays and Saturdays are usually like late nights for most people.
Yeah.
Do you allow late entries, like if they're after registration time? Like, say if they're in qualifications.
No.
Tough cookie.
That's one thing we don't allow. We've had someone who showed up like right before we started qualification, before the first driver went, and we're like, okay, we can put you to the back of the list, but if the first person's already gone, we don't add anybody.
Vittorio's saying, hey, he's gonna take a break. He's on his way to Wingstop.
Yeah, we had Wingstop yesterday, and then I had it again today, so that's why he's all butthurt.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Wingstop. Just putting that out there.
Oh, you don't get your wings well done.
I've never known what to try, so
my go-to is the 10-piece combo,
okay,
lemon pepper, mild, wings well done, and then extra seasoning on the fries.
The well done part might be like where I'm missing out, because every single time that I get my wings, they're like kind of warm and soggy.
Yeah, that's why I get them well done.
Yeah, I'm a fan of dry seasonings too. So
you should get the Louisiana rub then.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, maybe I'll have to give it another try.
It's a dry seasoning. It has a little bit of kick, but yeah, it's really good. I'm a wing expert, man. You ask me about wings, and I can tell you anything.
Right on. Okay. Let's see. Hymera 90 James. How hard is judging and driving during a comp?
So this is like one of the bigger questions that we have. Like it's a little bit more involved than how hard is it, but yeah, like let's talk about driving and judging at the same time.
Okay, so we'll start with how hard it is. In the beginning, it was super hard. Because you have to. It's weird. You have to like flip this switch to go drive. Like you don't get the grace of being able to like sit down there, have your nerves chilled, talk to your buddies, look over your car, any of that stuff. Like, and you're constantly watching people drive, so your eyes start to get tired, and then you gotta come downstairs and try to put down your best lap. Don't know what the car's doing. Don't know. I mean, now you do because it shows on your remote, but like because I come from upstairs, when I put the car down, it's usually at the top of a battery. That's the last thing I want to do is try to go into qualifying with a 100% full. Yeah, it's too much, right? So it's really hard in that aspect, but I think because I've done it for so long that I've kind of gotten it down. I encourage like people have like a disdain for people driving and judging, and I get it, but I encourage everybody to at least try it once, so they can see it's not as easy as people think it may be, and it doesn't allow you to have a bias, like because when I come down. So when I'm upstairs and I'm judging, there's 3 of us. When I come down, there's 2 of them. So my driving has to be really high for me to get a really high score. As opposed to when it's 3 of us, if I'm judging angle and I can give you a 30 out of 40, the line judge can also give you a 28 out of 40. And then the style judge could say, I really like that. So now you get 17 out of 20. As opposed to me, where they're trying to figure out what he did the entire lap because there's one less judge, and they have to account for a whole nother aspect that they're not really used to for that day.
So you guys don't have someone fill in when you're not up there?
No,
Interesting.
no. And the
Is it
one
the same
thing
way
that,
during tandem?
yes,
Okay. Wow.
yes, and
Didn't
that's why
realize
I
that.
don't mind if I lose or whatever, because they're always on the same page. Like if they're up there and one says, for example, one says I won and one says the other person won, they go to replay, and that's the good thing about the replay system.
Yeah.
Like, because then they can start nitpicking. Okay, well, he was deeper here, he was shallow here. 1 + 1, 1 plus. So it makes it easier because we have the replay system.
Yeah. I think replay is probably vital to like a accurate judging. It's some of it's just so hard to tell sometimes.
Speaking of replay, do you have the nitty gritty details on your camera system?
No, I know they're basically camcorders, placed in certain spots, and then Joey and Steve together built the system, and then they just threw it on a switchboard so they can go through it. I know some are the security cameras, the big bug-eyed with the optical zoom and all that stuff, that are fixed to the ceiling, and that's pretty much it. It's not as complicated as like the YDS system. It's a very much more stripped down system, but visually it's pretty accurate.
Cool. Yeah, we're trying to figure out a top down solution for our area, but we don't have a second story where we could just shoot a camera down onto.
Well, I tried to, because my dad works in the securities industry. So he does like a lot of buildings and stuff. And I tried to get Joey and Steve to buy one, but then I actually looked at the price myself. I'm like, nah, that wouldn't suffice. But there's a central camera that if you go to like any Target or Walmart and you look at the corner of the building, it's a camera that sits in a big round bulb. The camera has, I think, 1/2 mile zoom, and it can see every single thing there. But it's like $7,000 for the camera.
Oh, geez.
Like, you could literally sit that single camera in there, right in the middle of the track, and see every aspect you want. But the camera's expensive.
Yeah.
What's up, Justin? Yeah, I think we're probably not too far from like being able to buy something like those Osmo Pockets that can like automatically track the cars.
No.
That'd be cool.
As much as I am for that, they don't always pick up right.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, you can. I think you can daisy, if you have enough camcorders, you can daisy chain them together. You just have to make sure that you have the program to put them on a switchboard.
It all
so you
adds
do
up.
maybe you do maybe 4 cameras and 1 central, 4 corners and 1 central camera, and you'll get all your views. Just make sure everything's widened out to the biggest, to the most wide perspective.
I mean, I keep on complaining that I don't have enough hands. I need more people to run like all the stuff that I have going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the one that they have there, it's pretty nice because it has on the TV upstairs, it has all the zoom aspects and stuff. So you can rewind it 30 seconds. You can pick through each camera. If you need to see like if a car's nose was over the line, you can actually fully zoom into that. Sometimes, depending on the layout, the camera can look like it's upside down because we probably reversed it or switched it. But outside of that, it's probably the best system that I've seen. and I've seen YDS, but I think this is more visually appealing and less less of a headache.
Yeah, I was telling Judd earlier that like the filming that I do, the stream that I do for our competitions, like I feel that it's more for entertainment than for judging. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
I wouldn't depend on it for judging
Yeah.
by any means.
Yeah.
Before we get too far off of the whole judging and comping topic, I wanted to ask about your experience with how other drivers feel about you driving and judging at the same time.
Want to be 100% honest? I've probably only had in the 5 years or so, I've probably only had 1 to 2 people actually say something to me about it.
Yeah.
And those 2, once I explained it to them, they were like, "Oh, okay, that's fine." I think people seem to think that like if I'm a judge and I'm driving, that there's some internal bias or whatever, or I get like some type of advantage. But when I explain to them, like, if anything, I feel like I'm at a disadvantage. They usually are okay to be like, "Hey, all right, whatever. It is what it is." So I'm like, "All right, fine. You didn't really put up a fight, but okay." Yeah, like
Okay. Going into that though, Sunny in Discord, insight on judges sitting with one another. So I think the question is, as far as sitting together and then discussing battles with one another during the actual competition.
okay. So we're upstairs. We're probably 2 feet away from each other, maybe 3. But we don't discuss the battles until there's a not discrepancy, but until there's something needs to be offset. So like the battle will happen. Manny will go, "I picked this car." I say, "I picked this car." Steve, if he's judging, he'll either pick one of those 2, and that's who wins. The only time we don't, the only time we really discuss is if Manny picks one, I pick one, and then Steve's at like the one more time aspect because he can't pick. Then we'll go to the camera system. So it's not really, we don't really discuss the runs because we're all in the same position as to where what did this person do to disqualify themselves, and that makes it super easy.
Yeah. I like the idea. I wonder if I would assume this is kind of how it's done in FD, but like the idea of kind of picking who you think won without really mentioning that, making up your mind on who you think won without talking too much about it with the other judges, and then seeing, what everybody thought. I think that probably in my head makes it could be a little more fair, because I think whether people will notice it or not, I think everybody's kind of, humans are kind of easily influenced by others, right? So I think it really,
and
I think that definitely helps.
That's why we do it the way we do it, because you've already locked in who you thought won. I locked in who I thought won. Steve locks in who he thought won. And the part of the reason why, because we talked about like we have these little boards where we can write down, and all we got to do is like wipe the board. And because I was thinking like, hey, we put up, each judge puts up who they thought won, but then that opens us up to the people knowing what judge went for what.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want that, because we've had like people who try to stare down judges, or like we don't need that. Like if we keep it to ourselves, but we're solid on who we think won, then we can tell the people. They don't need to know who picked who or the reason why, unless there's a challenge or something.
And that's exactly where that question or the follow-up for that was. So just to finish it up, conversely, do you think once a discussion occurs between judges that you can say certainly that your opinion or what you saw occurred on track is completely your own?
Yeah.
So yeah, answer.
Yeah. So
question answered.
There's times where I will come to something, like come to a conclusion. Steve will come to a conclusion, and then Manny will go, "Hey, I saw this," and we're like, "Okay, well, neither one of us saw that, but we have the replay system. So because you saw this, and this is a determining factor of your call, let's go to the system. We'll see if it actually happened. Hey, you saw him tap a wall. We didn't see that, even though we're only 2 to 3 feet away from you. We go back, we watch the camera, tap the wall. You're correct. Now we're with you."
Yep.
I think that's the greatness of the replay system.
And just to confirm, for just whoever's watching right now and just personal confirmation, as far as replay system goes, that's the only footage that you're going to review, right? So everyone's outside
Correct.
Public footage of recorded lap is not a valid point.
No, because you can have, so we have one, it's unfair to other drivers. Like we have some people who are there on teams and they'll have 8 people recording their runs from 8 different aspects, right? So when they're done, they all run over and they're like, "Hey, this is it." You have some people there that are there by themselves and don't have anybody to record their runs, right?
Yep.
So we deem it as, it keeps it fair if our views are the only ones that we're using.
Yep, I agree with that.
Thank your judges, folks. It's
Yeah.
not easy.
That's
Yeah.
why we need a replay system.
Yeah. So
Working on it.
yeah, in our case, I think we kind of
We usually have
we'd
one
have to rely
person
on that, but yeah,
videoing the whole time, though.
yeah. There's usually an extra judge recording every battle, but yeah, I mean
It's usually Harvey.
it is a point of like, yeah, not everybody's going to be able to ask 2 people to film their run.
Yeah, I mean, for you guys, for a replay system, if you set up, oh crap, because this is a sports related thing. If you set up like I think it's called a
360.
VO. No, like a VO, right? We use it for soccer. It's a triangulated looking camera. It points straight down. You can go in while it's recording and rewind 30 seconds, rewind a minute. The only thing is the subscription is pretty expensive.
Oh,
Works great,
yeah.
but yeah, it's,
That kind of kills it.
I mean, yeah. Or you could just get a recorder, put it on a boom, have it watching the entire track, and if somebody says something, you drop the boom, rewind it, watch it again, get your decision, send it right back up, and go right back to recording it.
Which we have ways of doing that. We just need to find the right camera for it. Which, since we don't have the headspace or the height, trying to get like a super wide angle camera it's doable. It's not that easy though.
Even if we have to get multiple cameras, we just have to get the frame rate that'll capture what we need.
That's acceptable,
But they don't. But they don't make that.
Yes, they do. It's just not cheap. Believe me, I have looked.
I mean, four of those little dome cameras in each corner of the track should be able to pick up what you guys need because they're in high speed resolutions. You just need the DVR, and I think you just need a DVR
to do all
because
four at the same time.
Yeah, to do all 4 at the same time, and then you can go back and replay on a small screen. I think that, hell, I think you could even, well, I don't know what the frame rates and stuff are, but I was going to say, you know those
Don't
like,
say Logitech webcams.
No, it's not like the doorbell cam or the Ring.
Nests, like
But,
the
yeah. You could use those because those are all daisy chained and they run to a individual DVR that you can replay when you need it.
Not the frame rate.
Yeah, I was gonna say it may be too slow.
What would the frame rate need to be?
At least
60?
60.
At least 60.
I don't want to allow anything lower than 60. So if you can find even 720p 60 is fine. 1080p 60 is ideal. That's kind of where I'd like to stick everything at. But that's also a lot of data crunching, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The poor little laptop can only do so much. Although that's probably going to be a separate system from what I'm doing at the same time. Let's break it up, because we'll break up and we're going to come back to judging, I promise. Justin is asking, who's your favorite driver or drivers drive with, watch, think are really good, etc., etc., etc. His is Rio.
I like Hikaru. Only because for me, it seems like he just doesn't care. Like whether he wins or loses, he's just out there having fun. And that's what I'm about. I know some people get like really, really into the comps, and sometimes it gets a little serious and it kind of takes the fun out of it. And I'm like, come on, guys, like, let's just have a little fun. Like, I understand you want to win, but win having fun. So right now he's probably my favorite driver outside of the US, and then it just goes all US guys, like my buddies. It's Jason, it's Vittorio, it's all the guys that I get laps with. It's Trey, it's Brett, like all the guys that I get to drive with on a good enough basis that push me to get better.
Mm-hmm. Himura90, do you think the future of comps will follow more of the D1GP style?
And I need to know in what aspect, because I don't know exactly where it would want to go, as opposed to where we're kind of at right now.
This one might answer it kind of indirectly, but do you think the future of judging for these larger scale events like SDC will stay traditional judging or move towards D1GP style? I think that's probably where he's going, or where he went.
I think we stay towards more traditional style. I'm of the, if it's not broke, don't fix it. I know at some point through evolution, some things are going to have to change, but I'm more of a, we'll tackle that when we get to it. Right now, what we have works, and it works at a high level. So I don't see us changing anything as far as like judging wise in the near future.
Do you think
Sorry.
Do you think that the a breakout of not a breakout, but the inclusion of like pan car style chassis, or like the Fantasy, or even the LP86 is ever going to be like considered normal classification? Or
I don't see it happening. And to be honest, I can't tell you like 100% why. But I know that manufacturer-wise, it's easier to go with like full independent rear suspensions, because there's so many manufacturers that do that. The LP86, having driven one, I see it as like a fun car, but something that you can put into its own class. I don't think technology-wise, even with it being a pan car, it can really, you would have to do, so how much is the LP? It's like $200 and some dollars or something.
36.
No,
Somewhere
it's
around
like
there.
136 on Super G.
Yeah, for it to be able to chase one of the upper end high powered chassis, I don't know if it's there yet. If you do, you're spending a ton of money to make this $136 chassis do not as good as everything else. But then it also creates a disadvantage when you have to chase something like that.
Mm-hmm. Too much of a
I think
gap.
there's I think there's certain things that are good, but also belong in their own class. And I know there's a reason why we do classes. Like I couldn't stick a 2-wheel drive buggy in a 4-wheel drive class. It's just it's not going to be the same. I'm going to get a bunch of spinning, and they're going to be hooking and booking. So it's like I get it. I get people like want. So what I learned was, for example, with the fantasy, people wanted something different, and then they got something different, but then they were upset that they weren't included. Like the chassis is not included in the standards that are already set.
Yeah.
Standards are set for a reason. So if you want to participate in the series or any comps where the rules are already there, get something that falls in line with those rules. Don't get something outside of those rules and then be like, oh, why can't I do it now? Well, you knew the rules before you got the chassis.
Right. Right. But yeah, I mean, like just stemming from that rule of the whole independent suspension thing, like it's been there from the start, right? From the very, very start.
Okay, Romero 90 James must be James, right?
I would expect so.
That's what I was thinking.
It's James.
I just realized that.
Sorry, James. Slide Squad, back to Trey. Favorite track to drive, excluding your local track?
Favorite track in the world to drive would be Vega Saitama. That is for me, that is the pinnacle. And that track is part of the reason why when we got back, I pushed Joey and Steve to look into the Japanese P-Tal.
Aren't they known for like being the most low traction surface as well?
No, because you have the Southeast Asia tracks that use like that porcelain tile, like the really hard mall stuff. So those would be like the lowest traction. But when it comes to the most consistent, Vega is all of the Vegas are pretty good. Well, Joyous now because it's no longer called Vega, but yeah.
What is James asking? Last question from James. When you coming to visit us up here in PDX land?
As soon as James gives me the invite, every time I see something, he's always out bike riding or something.
Oh, wow.
Said, hey, come visit.
That's all it takes? James,
Yeah.
what are you doing?
Bike riding, snowboarding. He's never said, hey, come out and visit.
What the hell, James?
Yeah. I think the last time I was up that way was a couple of years ago, and I was in Seattle. So I definitely need to make it out to Portland.
Yeah, we're going to be a pretty good destination pretty soon. We'll have our P-Tile sooner than later, and it's going to be cool.
Yeah, the with everybody going Japanese P-Tile now, I think this year for Worlds is going to be completely different because everybody's going to have lap time on the same type of tile.
Yeah, going to be a whole nother level.
Yeah, I think last year a lot of people, it was their first time. So it was like, damn it, I got to dial in the car. This is completely different. But now I think from what I know, maybe like 10, 12 tracks already have already moved to the Japanese P-Tile. So it's like Good God, we no
It'll
longer
be-
have that whole.
It'll be interesting to see if that plays out, like with the regions that do have P-tile, if they do better than they had before. I'm excited.
I mean, realistically, like you say a lot of people, but like Super G only had Japan P-tile like what, a month before like actual SDC happened.
No, we got it in May, I think, when we did the reopening. So it was like, it might have been May. But the thing is, from May to June, it was us breaking it in, because it does have like a short break-in window. Maybe it all depends on how much you actually drive on it to get some tire down. Once the tire's down, it's good. So it could be a week, it could be 2 weeks. But for us, we probably had 2 or 3 good months on it, because we did the match Surrey to get people there to put tire down, so we could speed up the break-in time.
So how long of a break-in would you say that was, including the Matsuri?
We probably drove on it for like a week and a half, maybe a week and a half consistently, and then the Matsuri came and it was nonstop. And then once that was done, it was like, okay, this is what I remember. And as more tire gets down, like it doesn't change the way the track feels, but it makes it like more and more consistent throughout. Like there's spaces now where we don't have tire on, so when we switch up layouts, we try to use that space so we can lay tire. So at some point, everything's covered.
Yeah.
And then once we do that, it's a free for all. We can do whatever layout we want.
So my guesstimate is that at least a month for PDX.
Yeah, it could.
Yeah.
Be. I can tell you, like, the first, depending on what tire you're running, the first week, you're gonna be like, bro, this is really grippy.
Oh, really?
But yeah,
Okay.
if you guys run like the same line over and over and over again, after the first like week or something, you'll feel the difference. We went through maybe 5 or 6 different tires when they first laid it down before there was a layout or anything. And I'm like, bro, nope, this tire's not gonna work. Too grippy. Nope, this tire's not gonna work. Too grippy. No, this turned it into a rocket ship. Now I gotta figure out how to tune it to slow down. And I'm like, no, we just find a slower tire.
So now that it's broken in, like how quickly did you guys land on the LF3?
Pretty quick. So what we would do, it was like me, Steve, Jason. We would put on tires. We would drive the tire until the tire got hot. And then we would let the tire cool and then see what the tire does right after that. The LF3 was the one that remained the same consistency no matter what was going on. Whether the tire was cold, whether the tire was hot, whether it was hot outside, it didn't matter. It remained the same. And that's how we ended up picking the LF3. Now people have learned to tune to make their cars faster. So I foresee us trying to figure out a slower tire. Because it's that constant evolution. Like people are like, okay, this tire's cool. Let me try to make my car faster.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like to combat that. It's like, all right,
That's the game.
We'll figure out a slower tire. Yeah.
So you guys are going to change tires again?
Not anytime soon.
Okay.
Yeah, not anytime soon.
I see.
We'll definitely get through finals and worlds, and then probably do something in like December or January if that's the decision that's made.
Yeah.
We always do it we always do everything after
The
Try
season.
not
Yeah.
to switch tires in the middle.
Yeah.
And it throws everything off for everybody.
PDX is going to be switching in the middle.
Yeah.
Sir.
Yeah, because you guys are switching surfaces.
Yeah. We have to.
Be like,
Yeah.
what the
It's
crap
way
is
worth
going
it.
on?
It's way worth it.
Okay, Josh, in chat, what is your favorite chassis? And while you're answering that, I'm actually gonna fix my camera.
Right now I have two. My Final Form Shark and my RD 2.0. Those are my two. My Shark is really good. Only thing I want to do is put it on a little bit of a diet, because it's fairly
Yeah.
heavy. Just
Yeah.
a bit messy.
Yeah.
But my RD2 with the Team AD conversion, it's next level.
Seems like
And I
you
try
guys.
not to. Yeah.
I was just saying, it seems like you guys really like the RD2.
Well, so the RD2 was a, hey, we have between like 3 of us or 4 of us, we had like 7 sharks, right? So
Yeah.
everybody figuring out something different with their shark. So it's like, okay, we're tuning for these cars to be like competition ready. And I was like, you know what? The RD2 came out. Let me try something new. Let me do something I can just play around with. So I was like, okay, I grab it, but I waited. Vittorio got it. He's like, bro, this thing's, for it to be considered rookie level, it's pretty good. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm one step behind you. So I built it, drove it. I'm like, the geometry on this thing is really, really nice. And then talking to Steven and they're like, hey, AD's coming out with this conversion. We need you guys to test it. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll test everything. The front end, the deck, everything that they come out with, the caster adjustment. And then Vittorio's on the other side where he's like, okay, on mine, I'll test the deck, but add DDSS. So we're always trying to figure out like the configurations and what can get the most out of a bunch of chassis. Like even before I pushed my RD2 to where it is now, I was working on tuning a GRK2 Evo with the outclip conversion. And everybody's like into GRKs now. So it's like, okay, let's figure out what we can get out of the GRK. So he did the GRK5, I did the GRK2 Evo.
Isn't that funny? It was like out of the blue. GRKs are like a thing.
Oh, I can tell you exactly what it was. It was Yoshiba.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you followed all the Japanese drivers, when Yoshiba went to GRK, that sparked a lot of, like, there were people who were big GRK fans, but that pushed it to the level where everybody's like, okay, he's the world champion and he left and this is what he's driving. It has to be good.
Okay.
What?
I didn't follow that. So
I didn't either. But yeah. I try not to follow the curve, but once I like something, I kind of like it.
Speaking of the AD team chassis, we had Zombie Drift in Discord come up with a few questions for that as well. Let me hope that this is okay. Hold on. Let me get to this here. In browser. He had a question revolving around the two different sliders for the steering rack. So let me see if I can bring up the pictures. Image, not that image. There we go. Okay, so his actual question is, or I'd love to see tips and tricks on setting up that new AD team front end, and so I asked him to explain it a little bit better. But yeah, revolving around the two sliders here. So let me put a picture of that in. Switch. So it's that one, and there's this picture, which is a little bit better. So I believe one is the servo horn length, right? And then the other one would be the forward to rear position, correct?
Correct.
So-
I can answer his question with a simple answer.
Okay.
I have no rhyme or reason the way I set mine up. When I was building it, I was just looking at the instructions and I found something that worked. So like right now, his forward slider is very it's pushed way back. Right. So on mine, you see my second screw is set, my second rear screw in the slider is set at the fourth hash mark. He's maybe
like
8 up. Yeah. And then on my servo horn, you see none of those markings. Mine's just pushed all the way back.
So shortest servo horn, and then pushed it a little bit further forward.
Yeah, and I kind of, so it was I'm just gonna do it and try it, but it was also based a little bit on how I set up my servo horn on my shark. And my try to have it pushed back. The horn itself pushed back, but the slider pushed forward to compact all of that in that single section and still have full throw.
Sorry, I'm halfway listening.
To figure it out, yeah.
I mean, so if we take the worlds of everyone's like, this is what this does type of book, right? The longer the servo horn, the more responsive your servo is going to like react, right? That can also like cause some judder or some of the wobbles that you can see. So shortening it will give you a little bit more leverage or less leverage action for the amount of like servo that you're turning in the radius, right? And then as far as the bottom slider, that one should just be more related to Ackerman's sake. Like if that's what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, because it pushes it forward.
Exactly. So the more forward that you have, like depending on where your slide rack is and your geometry already, right? So if you had like more towed out at like full lock, that pushing it forward would bring it in. You'd still need to adjust your turnbuckles a little bit, but that's what you're gonna do. Whereas like pulling it back is gonna bring you back out to a little bit of a toe out stance.
It opens and closes your Ackerman without actually using your turnbuckles. But at the end of the day, you still need to adjust your turnbuckles for what you want.
It's the equivalent of adding spacers on the RevD bell crank or the Yokomo slide rack. Like
or sliding the servo on the Shark.
DDSS, yeah.
Yeah.
So between yours and Vittorio's, like, would you prefer this steering rack or the DDSS? They're technically both correct, but
I personally love the feel with this one. I drove his DDSS last night. And it feels really good, but it also just feels like my Shark. Okay. This feels a little different. Front end wise, it definitely has a different feel. And it allows me to differentiate between the two.
Is it more front end grip?
I feel like it is. Okay. I don't really have much understeer. And but I don't know if that comes from the system itself.
Right.
I'm not sure if that comes from like the damper settings or what. But it definitely has more front end bite than my Shark.
Okay. There you go. Almost makes me wish I didn't get rid of mine, but I got rid of mine. Like, I got rid of my RDX right as the announcement for the whole Team 80 front end. I'm like, should I keep it? Should I sell it? Yeah. Okay, jumping to Cameron's question here. What's the best advice for people who aren't confident and are introverted at comps?
When you're not comping, if your track allows you to, I am big on if you're trying to get good in comps, I'm big on starting and stopping. Rhythmic driving is good when you're just hanging out, playing around, driving with the homies. But if the second you decide you want to get better in comps, you do a lap, you stop, you give yourself 10 seconds. You do a lap, you stop, you give yourself 10 seconds. You don't need to chase anybody. You don't need to lean anybody. You just need to focus on starting, stopping, and being consistent and running the proper line.
Kind of reminds me of that Brett made a comment on Facebook like a few days ago about how it was about the whole flex stack thing. But it was what he drives in a sense that pretty much no matter every single lap to him is a cold lap, right? And that's how he drives at competition. Which,
it was so like the last comp. I don't really drive with Brett much because it just be so many people on the track. But this last one, I drove with him during like the open practice more than usual. So I would do like 3 laps and lead 3 laps, and he would chase 3 laps, and then we would switch. And it's the same thing. The fact that you start and stop everything and treat everything like it's an individual qualifier makes you drive so much better.
Yeah.
makes
I think
sense.
so much.
that's really good point, because you do kind of get into a rhythmic zone when you're just hot lapping, where it's a little bit easier, and just that stopping and starting and pulling up to the line is a lot better representation of what you're actually going to be asked of in a comp.
Yep.
It wasn't the last one that Vittorio won. The first time he won, the first time he came in first. Prior to that, for an entire month, we did start and stops, start and stops, start and stops, start and stops. I talked to Trey. I'm like, hey, Trey, half the battle is qualifying. Start and stops, start and stops, start and stops, start and stops. Everybody that I know that has like put themselves on that like regimen have upped their qualifying scores by 15 points.
Yeah.
Easy. And that's half the battle. And now when you go into battles, it's more of the same thing.
Yeah.
Most of the time you know how to chase. It's your lead that's usually the problem.
Yep.
But if you can start, if you have that start and stop, everything's cold, your lead becomes really good 9 times out of 10.
It's exactly that. It's practicing driving when you're cold. And like obviously you're not going to stop for 10 minutes, but just even a 10-second pause is enough to like simulate that. And then like what you said about qualifying is huge. Like the higher you qualify, the easier your route to the final is going to be. That's just how the math works out. So it's important to do well, especially at something like a Super G final. We were talking about this Friday night. Like if you can, every tier that you get yourself into makes it that much easier. It is so hard if you have a poor qualifying to come out of 3 brackets of 32 to make it all the way back up. And then the best you can do is go against the number 1 qualifier in your first battle. Like qualifying is so important at that event.
Yeah. 9 times out of 10, you're already your eyes are tired. You're experiencing trigger fatigue. Your arm muscles are starting to hurt because you've been holding this remote for so long. Like your feet start hurting, you're shaking your legs. All that stuff comes into play when you have to like battle your way from the bottom.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of battles. It's a lot of laps that you have to make little to no mistakes to get back into the big battle. So
Yeah,
yeah,
Brenna.
she
Yeah,
knows all about it.
she was something else. Like I've never seen anybody battle that much in a single day and just go through person after person after person. Like for me, 9 times out of 10, when you go to a comp, the most battles you want to do are 4 or 5. Like outside of that, because your room for error gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah,
The more
it's really hard to
battles-
go that long without making a mistake.
And then to hop right back in to like, so you just won a bracket, and then you're right back around into the next, like you're there. You're
Yeah,
like,
Yeah,
don't even take your car off the track.
Then you got to deal with battery swaps, and now you have a hot battery that changes the way the car drives, and there's so much stuff that goes on.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I tell when we're at the table, I tell Victoria all the time, like when it comes to battles, I don't care. All I want to do is qualify high. For me, that's all that matters. My goal every season is to TQ at least one of the rounds. I tried to do the first round and fell short by 3 points. This one I was like, all right, I'm just gonna go for it, throw it, whatever happens, because I wasn't even sure if I was gonna drive that day. I'm like, the car's feeling pretty good. Let me see what it can do. And it worked out. So now I'm like, do I really want to do round 3? Maybe, maybe not.
Oh, so bringing it back, because I had like, as far as the whole like introverted, be better at qualifying, right? Just hop, like the idea of hot lapping, and then switching to just start and stop format, right? Corner 1 will never be the same all the time, because corner 1 you're always going to be flying right into it if you're hot lapping, no matter what.
yeah,
So A to B practice, people.
yeah.
Tell people
Okay.
that all the time.
Just a reminder, we're gonna hop into roast my rig soon enough here. So we still got lots of questions, but if you're in the Discord and would like to post your rigs, your projects, there's the roast my rig section in there where we cover as many cars as we can until there's none. And we're gonna end at 11. I'm gonna make that a thing.
A hard end at 11 sounds really good.
Yeah.
Yes. We're gonna be up early.
Well, what Judd is showing up early, and for me
Track
to be,
at 9.
for me to be at the track at 9, I need to leave at like 7:30. It's not that bad.
That's rough.
But
Just
That's-
make
that's
sure you
pretty
set
rough.
your alarm this time.
hey, I don't
The
know what
right alert.
happened.
Yeah, don't be late.
I have no idea what happened last time.
Make sure your phone doesn't have an update tonight.
Right. Okay, Josh.
You gotta set an external clock.
Yeah.
Don't rely on the phone. You gotta set an external clock.
But who?
I
does
don't own one of
that?
those. I think I have one. It's right there.
Yeah,
And it
It
doesn't
doesn't
work.
make noise.
There's no batteries in it.
It's on the same time all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, but we are gonna like burn through the rest of these questions. So hold off on chat for a little bit, like YouTube chat, so I can get through the other Discord chats too. Anyway, Josh in YouTube chat, what is the weight balance of the chassis you try to shoot for? Bias.
35, 65 is usually where I'm good at.
Okay.
Anywhere, 35, 65. I can go up to 30, 70. That's for me, that's pushing it a little, because then I'll get like understeer on the front end that I don't like, so now I have to retune the front end. But 35, 65 seems to be my sweet spot.
So you're probably a more playful car type of guy. Like-
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also from Josh, what is the weight balance you typically... Wait, that's the same question. He just retyped it. Okay, never mind. In chat, Benny's asking if anyone has 5mm chrome VSKFs. They are trying to sell.
Benny's been looking for those for a couple weeks now. Somebody just sell him a pair already.
You'll make a good amount of money, I promise.
He will pay
What?
anything.
He'll fly out his private jet and
5
pick him
mil?
up.
I mean, he said
5
5 mil.
They make them, but they're out of stock everywhere, and he needs them to fit a body on RDX. And he will pay whatever. Name your price. he will pay it.
What is Vittorio saying? Think of the slider closest to the front of the space. Yeah, okay. So we did cover that. Cool. Brian, is there a significant difference between J tile versus something like Armstrong P tile? Yes.
Yes, big time. People think that it's not, but it's a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a massive difference.
The big it really depends on what treatment is done to that Armstrong tile, but the biggest for instance, for myself, when I went from R-Track to Tandem in Phoenix, it was definitely different, more consistent. But the other thing is with the J tile is you don't really do anything to it. You just kind of drive and mop it.
Yeah. We take the Swiffer to it, and the night before every round, they just take one of those big the hell is that thing called? Like the little sweeper things.
Roomba?
Yeah. The giant Ryobi Roomba.
Oh,
They just let it
really?
go.
Awesome.
Yeah, they just let it go on the track. That's the only maintenance that you need.
Speaking of y'all's track, though, I did want to ask about the tape lines for the zones.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys, aside from first of all, what kind of tape do you use as the color marking tape?
Steve uses, I think it's just 3M electrical tape.
Okay.
But then what he does so he lays it down, and then what he does on top of it is goes over it with the clear packing tape.
Okay. Good.
So that way the car slides over the tape instead of grips up
Yes.
over the electrical tape.
Yes.
Okay, so we'll grab some of that tomorrow.
That would be good. Yeah,
Or
because
no.
we, in our previous layout, we had the zones set up like you guys have been doing them. What we didn't have the packing tape over the tape, and I hated it so much. But that sounds
Yeah.
sounds much
Yeah,
better.
Well,
that
it's like
tape
you
makes
get
it
your
easy.
tire on, if you don't hit fully in the zone, but you're like you said,
you're like
yesterday,
a 7 or an 8.
70% into the zone, and you're on the tape line, it'll either just keep you out of it, or you'll just ride the tape line the entire time
Mhm.
because it's got so much grip. Because we're using 3M masking tape, like painter's tape for our zones, just because our track's white and nothing shows up on white.
Mhm.
not white anymore. It's kind of like a gray,
It's
Like
kind of gray.
a tingy,
It's got dirty tire all over it. It's not very
Yeah.
aesthetically pleasing.
But that's good to know. We'll definitely try that out.
Maybe I'll
um,
stop at Freddy's on the way in tomorrow and grab some.
you're free not to answer this, but Vittorio's asking, who's your favorite teammate?
I don't have one. They're all my sweethearts.
Coming in with the joke, Josh, Shaine, who's your favorite judge?
Me, that's an easy one.
Right, odd. Okay. Let me see if I can burn through the rest of these. Do. Judd, Logan, if you guys have questions, feel free to ask them.
Judd is working on something. He's
busy.
Yeah.
Is
Wheeling and
he
dealing.
is he packing
No.
his
Very
ZX that
focused.
he just sold today?
He's browsing by.
No, I sold the other ZX and then I picked this one up today, and the shocks were all sticky, so I just rebuilt them.
Wait, you sold a ZX for a ZX?
No, so I sold a ZX to a guy up in Seattle, and then I traded one of my cheap little crawlers that I had for another ZX today as well.
So a ZX
So
for a
Why did you
ZX.
just keep the ZX?
Currently, I have 5 ZXs right here, and they're all for sale. So if anybody wants a ZX, hit me up.
So you're rebuilding dampers right now?
Not anymore. I just got done.
Oh, what did you use?
Yokomo
doors?
blue O-rings, black fluoride dampers, or bladders, and 100 weight oil or 100 CST oil.
I was like,
100
what?
weight. 100 weight. Back in
I
the
mean, I
short
have
course
anywhere
days.
from 50 to I have every Yokomo oil on hand, so I just grabbed one. It's for
have you
sale,
ever
so
tried? Have you ever tried mixing and doing creating your own 75? I can
no, I have
tell
never
you
tried that.
it feels pretty good.
Because I'm always tossed up like 50 is just like a little bit too light, 100's a little bit too heavy.
Just
Maybe
mix
I'll
them
mix
together.
them.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll mix them 50-50. I got extra oils.
Yep. Try
Every time I
give it a
order
try.
anything off Super G, I just throw in a random couple oils in, and now I have like 25 sets of oils.
Yeah, I would say give it a try. Make yourself like do half and half between two bottles. That way you have a full bottle worth. So
Yeah.
that way, if you like it, it stays the same consistency until you run out.
But wait,
Oh, good. Yeah,
wait.
yeah.
The magic question, Shaine, what pistons are you using?
So right now, I am not using big bores. I'm running TRFs. So on the RD, I'm running the Azada pistons. The Azada,
They have pistons too.
the Azada Rhino pistons.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did we just go over this at the beginning?
Oh,
Yeah,
I thought
the
I
ones
thought
that
they were
just
just the
came out.
shaft.
Oh no, it is a shaft. I am running crap. What pistons? Oh no, I am running Rhino pistons, but they are prototype pistons.
Okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah, yeah. And then on my Shark, I'm also running Rhino prototype pistons with the shaft, and then nerds in the rear.
So, is $80 really worth it for a set of shafts?
Depends
My
on who
honest
you are.
opinion, yes,
It's steep.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Okay.
If I didn't get a set as like a tester, I would still buy a set. I might even buy a set just to have a backup for a set of TRFs that I have.
Gotcha. And they're neochrome too, so they just look cool.
Yes. Yes.
That would
and
be
then
cool.
I use the Scale Reflex what do you call it? The clear O-rings that sit in the oil.
Pre-moved ones.
Yeah. That in combination with the shaft, and it's a pretty good setup. I liked it. It's done me well as of recent.
Shoot. Gotta pick a car. Gotta pick a car to try it on then. We've got too many cars.
Yeah, I can assure you would like it.
Okay.
I have one question for you. So like, I just got word that one of my judges wants to compete tomorrow. How would you say going about multiple judges competing? How would that work?
See, I think that's the hard part.
That's
Because
hard.
I'm in the position where I'm the only one. Right? So the other two don't drive at all.
Right.
So it makes it a little easier for me. But if you're in the position where all three judges want to drive, that gets a little tough. If they're judging like every round, I would say try to have them rotate. One drives per round.
But not the same round, right?
Not
the same round. So one would get this round, and the other would get the next round, the other would get the next round. They can constantly rotate. I just get lucky because the other two don't drive. But if all three of us were driving, I probably wouldn't drive at all.
Yeah, I just got word that my other judge is going to be driving tomorrow, so figure that out as we go.
Who is it so we can point a finger?
They're just gonna have to compromise.
Damien is competing tomorrow.
Well, that's fine.
As of 9:40 p.m. the night before.
Yeah, they just compromise, and if they can't, then you just Rochambeau it.
Yeah.
Okay, Christian, have you owned an overdose chassis? If so, how would you compare it in terms of performance to something like Shark or any other chassis that you've owned?
I have not. I've never owned a GOM, never owned an XEX. For me, at one point, overdose was just out of my price range. And the performance of it here in the States, when I was like really getting into it and overdoses were really, really hot, it didn't match with what I wanted out of a chassis. Now I think they've made some progression. The GOM is getting better and better. But still I have this weird, like, I don't want to have to search for parts.
Nope.
Yeah, I know the quality control is amazing, but the search and the price for me is just, I can't get behind it for what it is. And then the performance, I'm more performance based than I am bling based. So like, you can give me a block stock YD2 and I'll be happy with it, as opposed to $5,000 into a GOM. Not to say GOMs aren't good or anything. Like they're good, and real like proves that. Junta proves that. It's just my personal preference is I'm not a GOM type guy.
I've
driven them and I can't. They're not my style.
I saw a fully loaded one on
either
Facebook.
You love them or you hate them.
Yep.
Plus, I don't want to spend that much on a chassis. I have a lot of chassis, but that's the one I will not.
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean?
I have 17 right now, and I don't.
So what is?
Plan on getting
Whoa! How many?
Sell 2 of them and buy 1.
I have 17 on hand.
Why do you have 17 chassis?
Because whatever he sees for sale, he just buys.
I just buy shit for fun. I don't know. I have a problem with it. Like all of these. Let me see if I can.
Mile High. Why not?
Everything with a body on it has a chassis under it, and then I have.
And I know that body.
I have 5 more chassis. Wait, what body?
The blue S15. I painted that.
Oh, okay. We're getting personal here.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Oh, that was James's body. I bought it from him.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
I painted it and gave it to James before he left.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. He sold it to me because he can only have so many bodies.
Oh, the Miku body? Which body? Oh, S15. Never mind.
Yeah, the Addiction S15. Yeah, I painted that during COVID. Blue to purple. It's actually holding up pretty nice.
Yeah, everything's still here. The wing fell off, but that's pretty much it. No rear bumper anymore, but
yeah, I don't think I gave it to him with the rear bumper.
Probably not.
When I built it,
I got it with
I
no
built
rear.
it bumperless. Yeah.
Wow. Mile High is really getting on you, Judd. 17 is rookie numbers.
Yeah, well, I'm not trying to build chassis like he builds. He builds some wicked stuff.
Yeah, we need to see some solid gear or solid axle stuff.
Okay, I got one for you. Solid axle.
LP.
Oh, you know what I mean. That's pre-built. That's ready to go. You know what I mean. Josh, again, do you have a diff preference?
Yeah, I run Rhinos and CLSDs in all my cars. I am a big soft 4-gear guy. It's just what I found I like, and it's worked in all the cars. On my Shark, I run the plastic gear with the metal outsides, and then on my RD, because it's a lightweight chassis, I just run all plastic, but they have the same gearing. My only thing with the plastic was it takes a while to like get it broken in.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
So, okay, you guys are having a LP86 challenge, basically, like its own class. Do you already have like the numbers for it, like to be a decently sized class?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. This is so the way we look at it is we wanted to do something and we put it out there so those that got them can come, but because we're running it as a series, even if it's like 10 or so for the first round, we'll have open whatever before, open everything after. The second round, because we're not going to give points first round based on like the field in itself not necessarily having them yet, because I don't know when the second batch is set to arrive. It's like a precursor into like the actual second round. Yeah. It's to garner some people that got them. They like them. They want to have some fun. It's like, okay, so the team, our team is like, well, what can we do? Like, we could do a fun comp, which is cool, but these came out. Let's see if we can get people with these to come out and run them and see how they can all do it against each other. I think that's part of the reason why we made it so you can't go throw $1,000 worth of electronics in it. Like, it's 17.5, no boost, no turbo.
You can still put $1,000 of electronics.
Well, yeah, yeah, you can. In my head, it doesn't make any sense, but yeah, you can.
I mean, a Zarvis XX with all the Christmas tree, then you go with 10PX, yeah, all the stuff.
Yeah.
And they make a, well, I don't know if it's on sale anymore,
They
but
make
a
a
17.5 like agile. Okay.
Yep.
There you go.
I mean, you can also, if you want to, you can also run a 21.5. It's just nothing lower than 17.5.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
The setup that I got from Super G for it runs perfect.
And that's all that it needs is a hilarious, well, it's not hilarious, but that's all that it needs, especially for the itty bitty little pinion that's on it.
Dude, that pinion is so small.
Yeah. How about this question? This question kind of, Jake woke up on the wrong side of the bed today and chose anger. But flex or no flex?
I am a, how do I put this? I guess it would technically be no flex, even though there's always some type of flex in there. I'm not a flex chassis kind of guy. I have like this weird notion that when you start adding more and more flex to a chassis, it helps mask certain things in the tune that you wouldn't be able to get away with if you were running a standard non-flex deck.
So here's the picture that Jake posted. Oh, I need to do this.
Yeah, it's
I've not been able to do the flex deck deal.
For me, flex decks are similar to like running on carpet. Carpet allows you to mask a whole lot when it comes to tunes. Flex decks allow you to mask a whole lot when it comes to tunes. But there's some people who figured it out and they like it. Like, I know, for example, Brett, he's not running a flex deck, but his car has more flex than mine. Because that's how he likes it and it works for him. But I can't take anything away from his tuning. I just know that there's some people who use flex as an easy out.
Yep. Need more grip? Go flex stack.
Yep.
It's a whole completely different version of tuning as well. Like, you can utilize it, and I utilize it on a few of my chassis, but like you have to approach it completely different. Like, there's no easy way in. It's not just gonna work. It's not gonna be a band-aid.
Yeah, if you were to give me a flex deck that had like the option of minimizing the flex, I would just lock the whole deck up.
Mhm.
Like, just take it all out, and then I will work on suspension tuning.
Sure. Rigid deck life. Okay. Oh, Super G's page. Oh no.
that carbon tower on the shark on the rear makes a whole lot of difference.
Because of weight?
Yeah. Weight, it's a little easier to, well, it's all weight based, but it also makes it a little easier to throw the rear end where you really want it. And it settles quicker.
Okay. Less inertia to be carried, so it can be there. So going back to Logan's light car type of scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I get the approach. I just think it makes the car less fun to drive. But that's just me. I don't compete.
Yeah.
Okay.
It in the competition aspect, it allows you to get in and out of the zones a lot quicker.
13 grams isn't bad. Yep. Okay. Let's see. Jake's the final question from the Discord. And he said, or he's asking, what got you into RC drift?
So when I stopped doing like all the bashing stuff, I got into one-to-one drifting. And then I started dating my wife. And I realized I can't do $1,200 outings just for like one day. And I was like, oh, it's RC drifting now? Okay, cool. Let me look into this. Not realizing like what portal I was opening up. But she would much rather have this than me spending $1,200 on a track day. So when I got into RC drifting, it was 50-50 days, like straight DP, with plastic PVC tires, and then it went to cyclones, and then my next chassis went to DIB, and then my first rear-wheel drive dedicated chassis was the FXX. And that one almost pushed me to not do rear-wheel drive drifting, because I kept blowing the damn gears. Like, I could not get them to work well with boost and turbo outside of like three battery packs or so. So then I went from there to a D4. I got that to work pretty well, and then I jumped back into a drift package, but it had like all the Kazama stuff on it, not the GSX, but the drift pack. It had an active hobby deck with Kazama arms and center motor mount and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, now I'm hooked. I've just been doing it ever since.
Logan, do you know any of those brand names?
No.
I'm just nodding. Yeah.
Yeah, these are like history projects.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how much of this stuff is come and gone, and to see where it is now, it's pretty cool.
Like Kazama's still around.
Yep.
They release bodies every once in a while, but the only thing with them is like they'll do a run on parts like once every couple years.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you don't get it then you're screwed for another couple years.
Yeah.
But they become like the hottest ticket. Like I had the scale reflex bumpers.
Mm-hmm.
I had a Kazama bumper on my drift package. Somebody offered me $130 for that Kazama bumper because they knew that it wasn't going to come around any other time.
That's crazy.
That and the Kamikaze battery mounts that went for the YD2.
Yeah.
Those, yeah, those I had at one point. I had like 3 of them, and I sold them all for like $75 a piece.
How often do you make it to the track, Shane?
2 to 3 times a week. I usually go Friday, Saturday. If I can get away from like practice or training with the kid, I may go like a Tuesday or throw a Tuesday or Wednesday in there. But it's usually Friday, Saturday. I'll get there maybe 5:36 and stay till 2:33.
Dang.
Yeah,
We're a bunch of softies out here. We all by 12 o'clock we're all like getting pretty tired and packing up ourselves. We don't even get kicked out.
Yeah, but it's
'Cause
usually
they-
from around 2 to 12.
Yeah, that's true.
well, they close. So they close at 11. Sometimes people will stay till 12, and then once they pack up and leave, that's when the real fun begins.
Right.
Because it'll be Jason with like just our guys where we're just practicing, battling each other. Like we'll do our own mini mock comps with like the 4 of us,
Mm-hmm.
and just run them over and over again.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah.
You need to do some more of that at PDX, I think.
Definitely need to do some more of that.
Okay, so last questions. What is it? Do you run certain offsets on the front and rear?
Yeah, I run 6s. Well, I run 6s all around for the most part. Unless it's just one of those bodies where I'm like, I just want to look good, then I might throw some 8s in the rear. Like for the 400Z,
Yeah.
I don't mind the rear being tucked a little. Like I just put on last week, I put on Shibata 7mm wheels in the rear. But I'm running Lab 6mm in the front because I run the 8mm hex. So it sits perfectly in the front, but it has a little, it's sunk in the rear. But I don't want to compromise performance for look.
Yep.
So like if we're just hanging out, I might throw 8s on it for pictures or something. But outside of that, nah, I drive it how it is.
Okay, last question. Jay Hill, thoughts on the RDX? Which actually, want to get everyone's thought on this now since we've had time to have it enter into the mix and have everyone literally drive it.
You guys can go first.
Me, it's a great entry point. It's quick to grow out of. It is a very specific driving style that if it doesn't fit you, then it's just not going to be your cup of tea. So if it doesn't, try elsewhere. Logan?
I think they're cool, and it's definitely for certain people, and it's really good for those people that it's for. But yeah, for me, I would prefer to just start with something more tunable out of the box.
What about you, Judd?
You guys know this answer.
Beast mode all the way.
So I have currently 3 RDXs in different formations. My go-to is always the beast mode RDX. Drives way better than stock. I think it's mainly just how it's set up. I have mine all high battery, high servos in the back. I have an R-Design prototype chassis. Does not drive good on P-tile, but drives amazing on concrete. It's a good chassis. It's definitely not for everybody. It's always my go-to out of all 16, 17 chassis that I have. If I do end up competing tomorrow, it will be in the beast mode. It's the one that has the most grip. It's the fastest. I can keep up with Logan and Jake. Maybe James sometimes. But
Sometimes.
his car is hit or miss. Sometimes it's really fast. Sometimes it's fighting him. But it's an RDX, so they drive about the same, I would say.
Bet you it's because he didn't drive on new wheels or new tires.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
He put new tires on the one day, and he was like, "Oh, there's
Well,
the difference."
Friday he finally put new tires on, and that was like the first time that I actually had to try to keep up with them.
Yeah, they're fast. But like I said, it's not everybody's cup of tea. I've
Hey,
had the
Shane.
Sharks. They're slow for me.
So for me with the RDX, it's how do I put this? It's a decent chassis. I think it has a very quick ceiling. Like you get to the ceiling really fast. I know that it's better in conversion form than it is in their stock form. But there's still some things about it that I can't get with. I've driven a few, and you're right, like you have to have a certain driving style for it to work for you.
Yep.
And I don't think as a whole, if you don't try to mirror yourself after like Rev D drivers, it's not going to fit your driving style.
Yep.
So for me, I'll take a RD 2.0 over a Rev D RDX any and every day. I can't get past the spool. I mean, I've driven spools before, but it's just something about the chassis that it just doesn't mesh well with my style. And I think
I don't like the spool at all.
I think with the MC1, they were kind of on the right path. But the RDX is taking its own path, and I don't know if it's not the best path, because the chassis is whatever you make it, but I don't think it's the greatest. Like I personally think they should have followed the MC1 design a little more, and played off of that rather than what the RDX ended up being.
I can see that. I can definitely see that. Or what they should have done, yeah. Because it's like they had greatness, and then they still have greatness. It's just very limited greatness.
Well, I mean, and then on top of that, I think the upgrades in itself are coming out a little too slow.
Yeah.
Considering there's so many other conversions for it in the market, that up the level of the chassis itself. Like with the RCO conversion, I've driven it. I like it on the RDX, but if you gave me a stock RDX, I would just hand you your remote back.
Right. And it's like now with the whole Rev D price hike, right? Prices are insane. Like, Judd, how much is their motor now?
The motor is like $225 now.
Something.
They used to be what
150.
150.
When I bought my first one, it was like 140, and then they bumped it to like 160, 165 ish, and then just got word that they went up to 225, 220, somewhere around there. Which that's a little much for a lot of people for a motor.
Sounds like you're coming over to AccuVans.
No, he doesn't like AccuVans.
The only AccuVans motor that I like is the BS Dual. I don't like the Fledge. To me feels, and I know a lot of people are gonna hate this, but the Fledge to me feels like a Hobby Wing D10 10.5 stock rotor.
That's because your BS Dual. You're talking about my BS Dual, right?
Yeah, with the torque rotor in it.
Yeah, it has a 13 mil rotor in it.
But I have another one as well, and it's so much better than a Fledge. I just don't like the Fledge.
I felt when I started like really running AccuVeg, I kind of felt the same way about the Fledge until I realized you can put a torque rotor in it and then go into your remote settings and up the torque setting on it. So it'll give you the BS dual fill or the agile fill with the proper setting. It's just as a base model, it's designed to be extremely smooth. Like extremely smooth. It's almost like the agile is like the aggressive dog in the yard, and then the Fledge is like the neutered dog that just wants to sit in a corner until you piss it off. Right? So
but you have to have a rad. You have to have a rad or an XX.
Or XX, yeah. Because
I had the rad and I sold it.
Right now, I have agiles on both cars. I have a 10.5 on one car and a 11.5 on another. But I have like 2 Fledges that I'll swap out for like smaller tracks. And just turn whatever I need up, like the torque setting in the remote or stuff like that. But they usually run the same tune. I just may change the gearing go up on the gearing by like a tooth or two.
Okay, we're gonna switch gears. We're gonna go into the roast my rig, and we're actually gonna start off with your chassis, Shaine.
Okie dokie.
Okie dokie. Okay, here we go.
That's
Where are these pictures at, Adam?
The roast my rig.
Okay.
In the midst of 2 weeks worth of roast my rig. So
good luck. All right, thanks.
No, we're going way back.
Not yet.
I think I got him.
It's today. Today at 2 2 p.m.
Got him.
So this is the RD 2.0. Yeah. With AD team.
Jeez.
Team AD.
You weren't kidding. You really did everything on that.
Yeah. Don't judge the zip ties.
Okay, well, that's not how this works.
Work the cable management.
It's not at all how this works, okay?
Yeah.
It's amazing that you can actually do this to an RD2 already, like all of this stuff.
Oh, I know, right?
I mean, it makes sense, but
here. Are those RDX knuckles, or are those the?
No, those are the RD 2.0 knuckles. They're really good.
Okay.
I tried to put the Rev D. What's the first version of the knuckles that they had?
Like HSL or something like that.
Yeah, I tried to put those on it, and it just would not work. The KPI on it was all off. So the stocks work really well.
That stock front lower arm is so much better, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm really glad they changed that piece.
A lot narrow, like skinnier, lower profile.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of the fixes on the RD 2.0 coming from like RD1 and like YD2Z or anything like that is it's a world of a different car.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah, I
do
kind of feel like for it to be considered the rookie drift, that they stumbled upon this and it just turned out to be like really good, because you don't, marketing wise, you don't want like your technically lower end chassis to be that great, because you're trying to sell people on the higher end chassis, right?
Yeah,
this thing is really good.
Now, for your servo, like, do they have the position to move your servo up, or is it just mid servo all the time?
No, there's a slider on the bottom of it. So like if you see this section here and this section here, so you can slide all the way forward or slide all the way rear, or you can offset it to one of the side and use these two holes or these two holes.
So someone needs to make a quick change turnbuckle, or just like a slide link.
I used the when I built it, I didn't have a turnbuckle long enough, so I just jacked the turnbuckle from my old RER, and just like okay, and I just pushed it all the way back for the weight bias, and it works.
Are you a trace and a trace vector guy, or just a trace here?
Just trace. I only run a trace and a blaze on all cars. Latorio tried to get me to try the other stuff, and I'm like, it's too much. I'll try to simplify myself. Plus, I don't like to solder, so if I do that stuff, now I gotta find somebody to solder it for me because I don't want to blame myself if I mess up. So I'm like, it's best I just leave it off.
Hey, knowing when you shouldn't be the guy to solder it is a good thing.
Oh yeah,
Jose.
But
now we can't complain because it's my soldering, unless he redid it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So far, my biggest ick is the countersunk screws to mount the rear shocks into a spacer. It's a little that's bugging me a little bit.
Because they're TRFs, I had to use the MST ball, and you know how it mounts on one side.
Yeah.
At the time, I couldn't find a screw short enough, so the only way to get it was to add that spacer. So
yeah,
eventually I'll change it, but
yeah, I know. There's always we all have our reasoning for the things that we do. We just want to make it work that day. But
it's always something small and stupid.
Yep.
So this is what you were talking about, right? So if you were to set your front uppers just to be at 0 caster, then you change your caster from your plate here.
Correct. So those two big pieces on the Team AD, when you get it, it has its own pins, right? But the diameter on the pins won't allow you to run those spacers. It's a weird diameter. So I had to swap out and use the sharp pins on there so I could use the spacers to zero it out. Because if not, that upper arm goes all the way back to that plate, and that's your base caster setting.
Jeez.
That seems
high.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
What is this like cable thingy going on here?
So when we went to Japan, at the time I was running body post in the rear.
Okay.
So I went to Super Rajicon, and they had these pins with the strings, so you wouldn't lose your actual pins.
Fair.
So
okay.
now on every car front end, I just use them on the post, so that way when I take one off or go to make a change, I'll never lose the pin. It'll always be there because it's always stuck on the string.
Yeah, MST size, like ball cup size, is the weirdest ball cup size ever.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're not quite 4.8.
Yeah, and I had to search for those to make it work.
They're on the Super G website.
Yeah, I was in the store at the track actually searching because I'm like, where is this at? Like physically, where is this at?
What is going on here? We've got some excessively long screws.
Oh,
Is that just from the bulkhead?
Yeah, that's just from the bulkhead. I don't know.
Use what we got.
Yeah, it is. It is. I think I when I rebuilt this and put like all the everything on it for the conversion, it was probably 3 o'clock in the morning. So whatever was there is what got used.
So this is actually interesting. It looks like one of the stock changes that they made for the RD 2.0, and I don't know if this is true for the RD 1.0, but they're using 43.5 millimeter blocks in the front, where like the tried and true method was always like 39.5 for who knows how many years. Random factoid.
Yeah, it's looking back at my old YD2s, like that was actually something that I picked up on, and it may be a reason why the front end drives so well.
Just a little bit wider, a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Burnt up a Futaba servo. That just
Yeah,
hurts.
that's what right now in that picture. What's in there is a 701. That was after these pictures were after I burnt it up.
That just hurts.
Yeah,
like,
after I burnt it up, I'm like, oh, let me fix it. Let me make it so I don't burn this one up too.
Now, why is your body not red? Or is it red and I'm just colorblind?
No, it's
definitely not red.
It's considered cherry red based on the Tamiya coloring.
See, it's still red.
No,
yeah,
it's pink.
But yeah, but the reason is, what people don't like really understand is, I'm not Team Super G.
Okay.
So therefore, I don't run the same like team body, same team colors, any of that stuff. So like the Team Super G, you have the drivers, which is Vittorio, Jason, Durkee, and Wong, or Vittorio, Jason, and Durkee. Those are your 4 drivers. I'm not a part of the team driver aspect, but I am like a part of like the bigger picture.
Okay. You have no side mirrors, sir.
They fall off. They fall off when I get tired of putting them on. I double side tape them, put them in the bag, and when I take the car out of the bag, the mirrors stay in the box. So I'm like, oh god, let's go. Better aerodynamics.
The 400Zs are like, they're good looking car, but you'd catch the wrong angle and they got a beak on them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They're also like monster truck status too. Like the side, the amount of sidewall that you have to come down on. You're either like eating the floor once it looks right, like for stance, or you look like a monster truck.
Yeah, especially if you paint that little spot on the fender black. It always looks like there's a wheel gap in there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then we're also moving over to your shark here. Are you still are you gear driven or belt driven?
Belt. Both of my sharks are belt drive. I like it.
Oh, I like
it a lot.
It's
super responsive.
Have you eaten any belts yet?
One. I've eaten one belt in the. How long has the belt drive been out?
Oh, I don't know anymore.
A year, 18 months. So I've eaten, let's say it's been out 18 months. I've eaten one belt in the last 20 months because I got it like the test before they came out. So that's the only one that I've eaten through. And that was after I drove it outside during like a promo thing that we did at the Peterson Museum. But outside of that, I've never changed the belt. I mean, I've changed one, but outside of that, I haven't had any issues.
I've still never broken a belt. I'm proud of that fact. Whereas
Yeah, that's
Jake,
a good thing.
I think he sheared. He literally went through like 4 belts over SDC weekend.
Yeah,
And a
I don't
couple before
understand
that too. I think it was just user error.
Fitment. Yeah,
Well,
it's either fitment or something's not shimmed properly,
oh,
or there's a screw too long somewhere or something.
well, we know that he didn't glue his pulley onto the gear, so that
I didn't glue mine either.
No. Oh wow.
I haven't glued it on either car.
Okay.
I
have a video of, and this isn't the shark actually. It was of my Galm, but like because it's the newer style. Well, I guess it's the same style for the shark, but you'll see the pulley walk across the diff. Just because the Galm is off centered. It's hilarious. Yeah, Lance says he hasn't killed anything since I fixed it at SDC. Yeah.
Yeah, I never glued mine, and I haven't gone through any belts. I can see it move from side to side. It hasn't like embedded itself in the sidewall or anything.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we are on shark territory here. So you must be on the standard non-flex deck, correct?
Correct. I'm running the 2.5 mil deck.
So it's not the production chassis, or is it?
No, it is. It comes. I don't know if it's up on the website, but you can get it in 3 different thicknesses. So I think it's a 2, 2, and a 5, and a 3.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So like I know some people who run a 3 at the bottom and then a 2.5 at the top for the upper deck.
Is it the bottom that stays the same and the top changes, or can you get different in both of those?
You can change them. You can change them both.
Okay. Yeah, I was not aware of that. What do we got going on here? Oh, are those the shafts?
Yeah.
The Rhino shafts?
Yeah, those are the originals. Those are the originals on TRS with OD springs with the helpers.
And then nerds on the rear. Okay. So, what's the point of having the helper spring if the helper spring is always compressed? Like, to that point?
To be honest with you, I have no idea. For that, I always will defer to Vittorio. He's the spring guy.
Vittorio.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, your 1-1 spring world knowledge. Why?
So is it only supposed to be? So helper spring is supposed to be compressed. Okay. So is it only on the unloading where it actually makes the difference here? It's so you can adjust your ride height.
That makes sense.
Makes only in the idea that it's being compressed and when the car unloads. Okay, so yes, there's that. Keeps the mainspring tight.
Well, there you go. See, that's why I like my guys.
I mean, okay, but like, what's the difference than just buying the short springs from Rev D? Mainspring stays loaded. That makes more sense. Okay. There's a point and a purpose for everything. What are these marks, my guy?
I know.
So at one point I flipped the toe blocks.
Oh, so this is
down.
Yikes.
So that's from when I was running it with the toe box flip. I was running it outside of my house, and I have the little drainage thing, and I threw a backy into it, and it slid and just started scratching it up. And I was like, "Oh, this isn't gonna look nice."
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Okay. And you're doing TK style, but with the shark toe box.
Correct.
And
So
you have the
with-
90
with-
on. Okay.
Yeah, it was the only way I could get the angle that I needed. Because I wanted it the outside to sit further forward than the toe block.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to push the inside back, and I think it pushed it back like 2 mil, 3 mil, or something like that,
Yeah.
to give it the proper rake. So when it pivots, it gives me the drive that I want on the outside tire.
Yeah.
That, and I couldn't find TK mount, the Rev D TK block, and Vittorio or none of them would give me one. So I had to figure out how to make it work myself.
They're doing it smart, man. I got to the point where I had so much stuff, and then I just started giving it away, which I don't regret, right? But yeah, now I'm on like the search for everything, always again.
Yeah,
Slightly sucks.
That's where I'm at. But here, use these spacers, use this, and then when I need them, I'm like, man, I could have swore I bought spacers. No, I probably gave them away. Now I gotta go get more.
Yep. And then when you like disassemble a car and like retrieve all your spacers, you're like, oh, this is where they all went. Oh, look, that new banner. It's DC 2024. Okay. Some more coming at ya. You're pretty quiet, Logan. What's going on?
Yeah, you're not doing any roasting, bro.
I mean, I'm
Let
not
it
seeing too
fly.
much, to be honest.
Yo, this MST spur gear here. Although I will give you credit because these are the machined MST spur gears, so there's that.
I'm not really digging
Yes,
the
they are.
painted edges on the carbon fiber.
But it's for a purpose.
It is?
Yeah, I don't want to look like everybody. At one point, everybody had a shark. I needed to be a little different.
At one point, they still do.
Well, okay,
For that.
but history lesson, because not necessarily painting, but covering the edges of your carbon, right? That was the purpose. So, like, if you were ever to hit anything, it wouldn't split in. Like,
Spinner.
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, point and purpose for doing that.
Yeah, normally it will be done with like a clear or something, but let's
Super
add a
glue.
little flair.
It goes faster with painted edges, according to Mile. Vittorio, can he send behind the scenes photos if you really want? Is it just gonna be the like, yeah.
Well, this dude. Go ahead.
Yeah. The Z is a love and a hate body. Like, it looks so good.
This is
from
one of the
certain
good angles. Yeah.
Mhm. And then it can look so bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now.
So,
No,
go ahead. Right now, what?
I was gonna say right now I really love it. The only other body that I like, and they give me crap for it at the track right now, is the C8. Oh, this dude.
Hey, I can't tell you how many people do that. That is a very common sight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure this was at a period when the track was closed.
Yeah.
You're not just going out there.
Just all right, man on, and just laying down on the track and take pictures.
Okay, we're going to burn through the semi 2 weeks version, or 2 weeks of No Roast My Rig. So ready, set, go. Here we go. I'm gonna turn studio mode off. Here we go.
I don't know. There's something about the angle of the motor that you could change and shorten those wires,
Hey,
clean it up a little bit.
maybe he wants to keep that Accuvance factory warranty, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, yeah, it does line up good. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
Every gram that you can save is a good gram.
Yeah, I usually try to cut up a lot of wire off.
And then we got some.
Random purple wheel nuts.
Hey, I approve.
Maybe the body's purple. We don't
Maybe,
know. We don't
maybe.
Got a Futaba CT700 S Bus 334. You can open up that case and then just disconnect that whippy antenna. There's another antenna in there ready to go.
Just pull it.
No, don't
Just
be
rip
like
it
Jake.
off.
No, don't just
Don't
pull
be
it.
like Jake.
Just yank it as hard as you can. It'll be fine.
He's got the poor boy's 2mm spacer for the RDX here, which is perfectly fine, by the way. MST shocks, it looks like.
You need a bigger cap though.
Yeah. If you're putting on 2 of the wire organizer things, it's too much. You've done too much.
When you have a 550 in there is a lot more that goes on in there, especially if you don't cut your wires to size.
Yeah. And if you're running that, I think that running that single, the small cap on there, if you're running any type of booster turbo, you definitely need to upgrade that.
My guy, you didn't follow the instructions. This little flat piece right here for stiff chassis setup, because I don't see you running the turnbuckle up there, should be the other way. Supposedly, you can run
Built
your
wrong.
chassis anyway. At least it's not like the whole YD2 like flipped upside down front lower arms. Too many times did I run across that.
But the one thing I do like about that conversion is the fact that it's like tub base. It makes everything look cleaner because you just stick everything inside the tub.
Oh yeah.
Those 30 mils in the rear? Yeah.
Oh, the tires.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Fat boys. Definitely a little messy. But it's good. Good messy. Oh. And the ability to be able to run a bumper with these chassis conversions.
Yeah.
Because the RDX has like the weird thing. Oh. Thanks, Mile. Thanks, Mark. Let me ask you this before I forget it. What's your opinion on FD lights?
I am big on, for comp, no lights at all. They, especially if we're watching, they become somewhat a distraction. Because then, like, the chase could be watching your lights to make sure to see when you're braking. But for us upstairs, it would be, how do I put this? It's a weird thing. Like, because that's one thing that takes away from what we actually have to watch. Right?
Kind of
So
like an overpowering thing that you just can't focus on.
Yeah, like if I'm trying to focus on you running the proper line, and then your lights are flashing red and green because you're on throttle and then on brake, it kind of breaks my concentration to the line.
Gotcha. Gotcha. How does this make you feel, Logan?
I hate it. Yeah.
You feel anger.
Yeah, that's obviously he didn't leave it like that. I'm a big fan of, now that I've done it, of cutting those the Futaba like servo wires and stuff, just cutting them down to much shorter.
It's so easy when you have the right tools.
Yes.
100%.
This capacitor is driving me nuts.
But he's got a pulse master in there. Different like part of it, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So this is Alex, our Alex, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he
like that. That's a
posted
nice
one
thing.
picture of it with the body on. How is that roast my rig?
Well, I mean, I don't think he
It's
like
just it's a bone stock RDX. There's nothing to really roast inside of it.
aren't these the 3D printed wheels that he broke one of them on? I think they are.
I have no idea.
He 3D printed wheels that MST already makes.
Yeah. I mean, these are painted, that's for sure. And I know he posted a
I think he
busted
just
wheel
painted
pic.
them.
Yeah. Okay, coming in from Papa Grumpy. You're okay.
That dirt. Is that a 2? Yeah.
The tub chassis. The paint car.
Hmm.
This one looks pretty well put together.
Yeah, I can't even roast it because I kind of like the servo mount, because on the GRK2 that I was working on, it had the bushing steering setup, and that drove me nuts. But this
Definitely-
is inverted direct.
Definitely bought every capacitor he could find.
That is a crazy servo horn.
Right?
Like, they built adjustability into it, which is cool, but that's crazy.
But it's a nice upgrade.
Oh, for
It's
sure.
a nice upgrade from the stock bushing 2-pin or 2-tower bushing setup for that slide rack.
Look at that. Look at that thing. That's great.
Yeah, I can't even hate on that.
Did you notice all the capacitors on
Yeah,
the other side?
yeah. I mean, but in his defense, because I can't really roast it, it actually helps even out the weight. So it could have been a weight thing.
We're at a new level.
The Rifato Scarab Beetle body.
What is that? A 350?
Yeah. In the taillights. Is it the addiction one? It's got to be the addiction one.
Yeah, the Tam Tam one.
A lot of handwork.
It
that's for
is.
sure.
I had the patience for that.
Nope.
Do I? Oh,
And then like,
so you see how this light is on the hood and the windshield? I know it's just a circle
Uh-huh.
light, but that's what it's gonna be like at Import Expo. They have like the weird,
Really?
they have like the crazy hexagonal lights up in the ceiling.
Cool.
oh, they have the car wrap light.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
right.
it's cool like being in the venue, but taking pictures of cars.
All the pictures
is
have
the-
that.
Yeah, it's the absolute worst. It's like, I just want to take a clean picture of the car. Why can't I just have that? Suspension travel.
That's a lot of droop.
So it's not purple.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe he likes the Lakers, but that's orange. Never mind.
I don't know what people's fascination with this boss like mix
Same.
thing is.
Same.
They came and went. I had one in like 2018 or so when HPI did like their warehouse sale, and everybody got them. But it's rare that you see them now.
Like I'm all about this front. I love that front end, but then you just come to the rear and it's like, ugh.
Yeah. And this looks like the original. It's the original stock color without the livery.
Gotcha. Livery would have probably fixed it.
Yeah, the livery was like blue, like a medium blue, light blue, and black. I think it was. Yeah, it.
Okay, what do we got here? Got an RDX.
We got another RDX.
The Yokomo speed control. We got an RMX. Another RMX. RMX guy. Two nobles. Lots of red wire.
Yeah,
That's
we've
a
seen that
lot
red
of
wire mess before.
That would royally mess me up. Like even if there was a black bullet connector.
I assume so.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm a big fan of just black wiring. Let everything else have the color.
I'm a fan of lazy wiring. I do have a speed control that has like red motor wires, but that's because I ran out of everything else.
Oh, Judd, I got a question since you drive an RDX.
Yeah.
What on the motor placement, what is your preference? To stand it straight up or lay it down onto that little deck area?
Personally, I run high motor.
I agree. High motor felt better and snappier for me. Low motor kind of felt lethargic, and it was there, but it just wasn't as aggressive for the style that we drive down here.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so you're full high weight shift style.
Yeah, everything's high. Turbo's high. Like there's the only thing that's on the base plate is gyro.
Bro, what size spur gear is that? That thing is huge.
Stock. I run
That
stock
looks
gearing.
massive.
Stock gearing on this whole thing is 8420.
Why
That's
does it
not
look
that's
so
not
large?
stock.
That's 100% stock. I will pull out the stock one right here.
I thought it was
This is-
bigger. I thought
This
it was
is
like
all box stock.
Maybe because it's solid, it looks just larger. Like there's no cutouts or
Probably.
anything. That thing looks like it's a 92.
84. 8420.
right.
Like
Well,
I haven't
here's-
even put turnbuckles on this thing, and
here's how you know because it's an
Christ.
RDX, right? Is it the weird dumb spur gear that always strips out? Like the one that has like the built-in back plate?
yeah, I've never stripped one out. I've driven this RDX for what 8-9 months.
Yeah, I've never stripped one out either, but
I've never stripped it. A lot of people have though.
yeah.
It's. I mean, the way I look at it is, if you're stripping out a spur gear, you don't know how to set your mesh right.
Okay, we've got
You're
10
probably
minutes.
new.
10 minutes to get through this.
I mean, we can. There's more weeks.
Holy
baby.
monster truck. That ride height is massive.
So just to put this in perspective, this is Jose. He posts his car like every week.
Yeah.
But the cool thing about it is that he's got the mile high Pokeball spur gear
Yeah,
cover.
I noticed that.
Yeah,
he
that's-
won that, right?
That's cool.
He did one. Yeah. So he won the draw. the second draw. But yeah.
Yeah, the ride height is an issue. You don't need to do that.
Now, okay,
Unless he's
but
going for like super roll.
Yeah, I guess once he puts his battery and stuff in, it could be better.
The battery isn't going to drop it that much.
No, I wouldn't expect.
I've
Like he has to be going for really high roll.
Yeah, probably so.
I mean, I think so based on the front springs. I would need to see the rear, like he's really trying to weight shift it. But that is massive.
That thing don't weight shift though.
Oh.
Oh, so there we go.
There you go. Here we go. I just got to show it while we're here.
I was gonna say the wiring looks better, but the solders are bad.
So there's a story behind the motor.
What is up with the motor with the body mounts?
This thing?
Look at this car all the time at the track.
Yeah, I don't know.
He went and bought 2 different sets of scale reflex, the shorties and the longs.
Yeah.
For what purpose?
I don't know. I think because of where his wing mounts or something. I don't know. It's the only place it'll fit.
So I guess the explanation is his body.
Yeah.
The BRZ body, or whatever you want to call it, the GT8
rounded on the edges.
It's so thin of a placement. Like there's only so many places that you can put it. Like on my GR86, I have mine like off of standoffs, which is kind of weird. But like there's a lot of space where I can, or there's not a lot of space on the body to be able to get it right. So you have to, I feel, have to come up with like not your normal mounting position.
I mean, he could have achieved it just running the
short
long or the short post like down the center of the chassis, like through the back, and gotten the same thing as opposed to adding the extra pivot points or the extra pickup points.
Right.
You can't try to understand the mind of
Better
Jose.
yet, can we just get PDX away from GR86s, please?
Good luck with that. I also like how Jose's trying to trick you into thinking he has nerds in the front with the red washer.
I mean, yeah.
Stock gum shocks again.
So here we go. Vittorio's RD 2.0.
We'll end on this one.
We're ending on this?
I mean, we got 8 minutes.
Yeah. So he needs to clean it up. This is pretty good though. Yeah, clean it up.
Clean it up, man.
Well, what's the idea behind the like deanodized DDSS? Like it's available in red. Is this like prototype?
No, I know the story of this. Yeah, he gets home and he gets like anxious and stuff. He's always looking for something to work on. So like him putting DDS on this was like a 3 o'clock in the morning type thing. So then that the center plate behind it that attaches to the chassis, he couldn't find his red one. He only had a purple one. So he was like, oh, what do? I need to finish this car. Let me strip the purple one.
That's commitment.
So he strips the purple one, right? And then he's like, okay, well, I need something to go with that. Let me strip the top. So he was like, okay, I need something to go with that. Let me strip the motor plate. All right, cool. I'm gonna stop.
Oh my god. Okay. So good luck being a drift car part in Vittorio's house when he gets home, because you don't know what's gonna happen to you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Chemically burned is what it's the name of the game here.
Yeah, so he did those 2 upper pieces, the attachment piece, and then the motor plate.
So I bet you, ironically, by stripping the anodizing off of it, it probably made the pieces fit a little bit better together. Because like when you're putting it on the top rail here, it's usually pretty stiff. So I bet it just slides right in now.
You gotta squeeze it and then tighten it yourself. Yeah.
Stripped his
And then
lord.
yeah. So I mean, now he was like, okay, this actually looks good. Red arms, red lower, red fan, silver, and then carbon. It was like, it's a theme. Okay, whatever works.
Needs to polish it.
Yeah, we told him that, but
That's so
he
much
was-
work.
he was anxious to drive it, so he put it back together.
What do we got? What is this? Oh no!
Oh,
never
tell
mind.
him- Tell him he can run that servo wire under the plate instead of coming out through the hole.
It's like an innie
Right.
versus an Audi.
Could be a
belly
little
button.
cleaner there.
Yeah.
Okay, one more, and just because Lance. So here we go. This is Lance's new deck. Oh, hold on. Let me clean my tabs here. I don't
The
want to burn
Midnight
myself
Sun?
out. Yeah, so this is the newest of the Midnight Sun platform. It's basically a stiff, super stiff chassis. Not too much wider than the MC1 chassis, but yeah, it looks like this on the bottom.
Mm-hmm. What gearbox is it running?
It can run pretty much anything almost. So any 4-bolt transmission hole. So you can run like anything from a ZX, RX to RD 2.0. We think it's an RD 2.0. Actually, no, I don't think it's an RD 2.0 because of the way that the transmission mounts on the front end. But other than that, you can mount a Shark on there too because it fits the YD2. But yeah, we've got the holes for it.
I got mine on my ZX.
Never ending configurations.
I'm gonna put one on my high motor, high battery Galm. High motor, high battery Yogi. And we'll see how that turns out.
I'm always surprised at how many people decided to go high motor, high battery, high everything this year.
It does seem to be the trend.
I think it's not just the fad anymore. Like way back when in the FXX days, it's like, oh, hey, let's mount the battery high just because. Like, sure, there was performance benefits to it, but that came and went because YD2 came out and then like that whole progression came out. Now I think it's more of the style that will stick and we'll continue to see.
Yeah, I remember on my FSX, I ran one of the big batteries perpendicular to the chassis over the rear tower for performance. And then on the second one I ran it at the low point and just added, and it sounds so bad, and just added 160 grams of rear weight onto the rear diffuser to get it to dry properly.
Yep. So we have a friend named Chuck, and well, I have a friend named Chuck, but Chuck was at the expo, which he didn't have his FXX running. It was up for sale. But the trick to his FXX is that he had a new bright hard body Hummer body on it. So that's where his extra weight shift was coming from. And man, that thing drove really good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know there are a lot of chassis that I skipped and didn't get to, but I'll try to bring them up next time.
Yeah, there's more shows.
Yeah, there's more shows. Next week, let me get the handy dandy calendar up here without showing you. Next week, it's Chris Hawkins, yeah?
That sounds right.
Yeah, it's Christopher Hawkins.
From 3D.
Yeah.
3D. Yeah.
Or is it? He's the boxes, the display case things.
Oh, raw component.
Yeah,
Raw
that's the one.
component.
And then we're going to Import Expo after that. Then Jeremy with Driftwell. And Chris with Tandemonium after that. And Sean Lewis into June.
Sean.
So you guys, if you guys want to be on the show, just message any one of us. Well, I mean, between
Not me.
Yeah,
That's
me,
it.
me or Logan. Because we do have openings starting in June, third week of June. But yeah, cool, fun place to hang out. It's not like any high pressure situation. If you're not good on camera, who cares? It's just a fun time. Anyways, so Shaine, where can we find you on the socials?
Facebook, Shaine Collins. Instagram, it's edge of control _RC. I don't really do TikTok. Or you could send me something through the Rogue Factory page, which is rogue.factory. Outside of that, you got any questions, just send them to Vittorio.
It's vittorio@gmail.com.
Yeah, Vittorios. Let him filter through all of them.
Well, you heard it here first. Send all of your questions to Vittorio.
Yep.
I like that.
Or you send them to Trey. I'm
Oh yeah.
gonna send them to Trey too. Yeah.
Well, man, thanks
I
for
tried-
coming on the show. Like, it's been fun.
Definitely.
Anytime.
Yeah. It was nice to clear up some of the questions we've all had about judging and stuff like that. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm always I joke, but if anybody has any questions, they can always send me a message. I have no problem answering it. Because here to help, here to get people on the same page, here to help the community grow, all that good stuff.
What about you, Judd?
That's
ready?
like I'm ready to go to sleep.
We got a big day tomorrow.
Gonna leave here at like 8, get there.
We'll be fine. It'll be
Oh,
fine.
it'll be fine.
All right, you guys.
So-
Did you have
That's
anything
a
else,
nice
Shaine?
G-Style shirt. Oh no, I was gonna say
Oh.
that's a nice G-Style shirt.
These are
James-
fresh.
James-
These are fresh.
Yeah,
James
James
just
did a
sent me
good
this
job.
Friday.
Yeah, he does a really good job.
Yeah, he's a good artist.
Yeah.
I'll show you guys the back. You see it?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, I still have all mine in my closet. So every once in a while, I might throw one on.
Yeah.
All right, you guys. It is that time. We're going to end it. So thanks, Shaine, for coming on. It's been fun. Judd,
Thanks for
Logan,
having
thank
me.
you. Okay, if
Thank
you
you,
do have
fella.
any questions, always post them up in the Discord, or someone will answer. I can almost guarantee you that. Someone's going to answer. If it's a tuning related issue or anything like that.
Yeah.
There's also
Somebody will answer. You might not like the answer though.
Right. There is just picks if you don't want, like, in Roast My Rig, where we can post other picks, all that stuff. Anyways, I'm rambling. I hope you guys have a good weekend. And
I got one more thing.
Yo.
Hey, here's an air hug, Jake. We're all good.
It's okay, buddy. Don't worry about it.
I'll see you in October.
Hell yeah.
Actually, you might see
Probably
him.
sooner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll
Oh,
be,
yeah.
be down there
Come
sooner.
down. Yeah,
All right, you guys.
yeah. Just let me know when I'll make it.
Right on. Take it easy.
Later, guys.
All right, bye.